You all begin to awaken in total darkness. And as you look around, you see 5 others floating with you in the darkness. You're not sure where you are or how you got here, but it's strangely peaceful. And then you look behind you and see a giant, ominous, dark-robed, shadowy figure. And you realize this is death. Then the figure reaches into its robes, pulls them open to reveal a the sky, a gateway out into the world. And you can see of a cliff, and off in the distance you see a city. You recognize it as the city of Ekron. You were near there, but there's something wrong. There's dark, rolling, ominous shadows covering it, slowly spreading out. What are you doing?
Nathrali's going to move further away from the gate. She doesn't want to go back.
Talathe is sputtering and panicking and wants to move toward the gate.
Zildath has very quietly begun to say a prayer, and he is also. Do we have anything on our person?
As you look to try to see if you have anything, you realize you're sort of ethereal.
Oh, God. So he will continue to say a prayer, and while he's doing that, he's searching his memory, trying to ascertain how he got here.
Tokia just kind of dusts herself off, snorts, and starts attempting to go towards the door.
It's all kind of fuzzy, but it depends. Well, I'm gonna let you guys all figure out your own backstories, but you can kind of over time remember how you died. But I'll let you guys figure out how you. But yeah, you died. Um, so you see almost immediately the guy in the back, as soon as he realizes what's happening, just makes a break for it. He's going straight for the gate. The woman who's in front, she's terrified. She curls up into a ball and just starts shivering. So what are you doing?
The gate, I have a question about it. You said, does the gate look like, is it like bright light end of the tunnel type gate, or does the gate look like a portal back home?
That's an excellent question. So any of you who heard stories, which of course everyone would have heard stories of the bright tunnel, the light and everything, this doesn't look like that. This seems strange. And as as you're thinking this, the shadowy figure finishes opening, and the shimmery portal kind of snaps into reality, and you can see through it. You can see all the individual blades of grass. Everything looks exactly like reality, and you recognize the city. It's the city of Ekron. Maybe you were there recently, or maybe you were just nearby it, but it's somewhere near where you were when you died.
Talathe is still slowly making her way toward the gate, and I say slowly because she's not calm walking toward it, so she's more stumbly, just all kinds of chaotic trying to get to the gate.
Well, you're not really walking. You realize as you're moving toward it, you're floating through the void, but floating through it, it feels natural. It all you have to do is think. You just will yourself forward.
Mentally chaotic.
Yeah,
So
yeah, is
go ahead, Better.
is heading to. She's like she's on a mission, so she's just like, whatever. This is bullshit. I need to get over there. I need to go there. Very focused. Because she's
Toward or away from the.
towards the portal.
Zildath will he's kind of looking at his ethereal body and he's adjusting to it, and then he's looking at everyone moving towards the gate and he's studying it and how it looks a little weird, but then he says very loudly, "If that is the gateway that the undead return, we must not use it."
So everyone else, you hear very muffled, sounds distant, the sound of this draconic voice. You can almost make out the words.
Nethrali is not going to pay attention. She's just going to keep trying to move further away from the gate.
If there is, he will Zildath will actually try to, I don't know how fast he can move, but he will actually attempt to move in front of those rushing to the gates and hold up his hands as if he's telling them to stop.
So as all of your memories start to kind of clear up and you sort of come to, you can all remember stories, well, various amounts depending on how much you would have heard in life, but you all know that from the stories this very much sounds like the god of death, and you know that the god of death, he sometimes lets people return. Resurrection is very much a thing, and priests who perform resurrections refuse to do so without the blessing of the god of death. You know that the god of death is very it doesn't like to be cheated of souls. So performing any sort of resurrection or necromancy without the blessing of the god of death is, well, basically suicide.
Is there a specific name for the god of death?
Nope, just the god of death, or people just call him death.
Nethrali is going to call out death to see if he'll answer her, since they're in his realm.
You see sort of, if you focus on where the face should be, it's all shadows, but it's almost like he's looking at you and gives a subtle nod.
She's going to make sure that she's not looking at him in the face just as a sign of deference, because she knows better than to be disrespectful to a god. And she's going to, as calmly as she possibly can, say, "Is it your will that we go back?" Because she still doesn't want to go through the gate, but she also doesn't want to anger the gods.
Tathe is like hastily speaking in a million different at mile per hour. He just keeps saying, "I'm not done yet. I have to go back. My mission's not done. I'm gonna fail again."
You all hear it almost sounds like her voice has been sped up to where you can't hear what she's saying, but it's like a chipmunk voice of just Like if someone took a normal voice speaking, just sped it up way too fast.
Did Death
So
respond to Nathrali at all?
Um, so after you say that, you still see, if you were to glance up, you'd still see. I mean, not really his gaze, but you can almost feel his gaze. Still just watching you, still robe wide open with the gateway.
She's going to sigh to herself and start heading towards the gate.
change. Tokia had slowed her determined forward motion a bit, um, while kind of looking at death out of out of the corner of her eye. But after a moment or two, and the chipmunk voice, she continues barreling towards the doorway.
The man who had been at the back of the group is still. He took a moment to look around. He saw the rest of you, and then just ignored you and went on past. He's headed straight towards it, and you can actually kind of see it. It's almost like there's like a like the core of him is kind of glowing almost. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like it's not overt. It's very subtle, but meanwhile, the woman who had previously been at the front of the group is still curled up in a ball, shivering in fear. She hasn't even turned around and seen the gate yet. So what are you all doing?
So
Nathrali is still heading towards the gate.
Zildath has turned around and he's studying the gate and what appears to be Death holding it open. And he will drop to one knee and he, well, not even, I don't know, he will hover, he will assume the position in his ethereal form. And he will, just in silence, he is praying to his gods, asking for guidance, asking if this is what they want of him to return to the land as the undead, because he doesn't necessarily believe that he's going to be resurrected. He believes that if he goes through this gate, he's going to be the kind of thing that he hunts. So he's wondering if that is his punishment for whatever he's done wrong, or for failing his mission, or if he must stay in the darkness. He doesn't. He's trying to find answers.
So as your memories begin to, or continue to still clear up slowly, you remember from what you know that death only holds power over the mortal aspect of life, and that your essence, your being, who you are, and your memories, the memories that you're recalling now, those are the domain of whatever deity you subscribe to. So for you to have your memories means this is something more. That this doesn't feel like being raised as necromancy. This feels like it must be a form of resurrection of some sort.
At this point, Nathrali is probably pretty close to the gate, and she's going to look up directly at Death, and she's going to say, "Do I have your blessing to enter?"
Death sort of almost looks down at you in the way that it can't. I mean, it's shadows, but it's you can almost feel its gaze, almost smiling. I'm not sure is the right word, but He nods his approval.
She's going to touch the gate and start to go through.
Zildath will sigh very heavily, piecing all that together, that he's somehow been given another chance, but he doesn't. I don't know, resurrection is a weird topic for him. So he stands and he looks back, he looks at the gate, and then he looks behind his shoulder at everyone, and he sees that woman that's curled up on the floor that's just there. So he will float over to her.
Tokia gets to the gate and kind of pauses and looks up and gives kind of a grunty, growlish noise and nods and goes through the gate.
Talthay, she's getting closer to the gate now, and it's like as she gets closer to the gate, the more she starts to remember. And I don't know if she can, but she starts bringing both of her hands up to her throat and just trying to feel if she's fine to keep going.
So as you lift her hands to your throat, it feels sort of. It feels. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuzzy, kind of like you're covered in padding almost. Like you don't quite feel real yet, but you notice as you do, slowly it feels like it's beginning to like you're beginning to harden and solidify. It's like you're becoming more real by the moment. So Tokia, you said you were going back for. Is that right?
Right out there in the middle.
You said you're going back for the woman?
No.
Zildath is.
Oh, Zildath is. Or, yeah. Okay. So Zildath, you get to the woman. She's just curled up in a ball. She has no idea what's going on. She's afraid to even look at the gate. She's just there, shaking, obviously terrified. And you also begin to notice that you feel more real, and you can touch her, you can feel her. She's becoming more real by the moment as well. Do you want to try to wrap your arm around her and bring her?
He will not touch her as of yet because she looks so terrified, and he is aware of how people take his appearance. So he will say in a voice as gently as possible that, "Come, we must go."
You see her look up at you, and she can't understand what you're saying at all, but she hears your voice and looks up, glances over the gate, kind of blinks, like she's trying to figure out what's going on. And after a moment, she realizes, oh, we've got to go. Okay, so she tries to follow you.
So he will.
As the rest of you are reaching the gate, you're also feeling like you're beginning to solidify and become more real. You're becoming less ethereal by the moment, and you feel almost the void start to drag on you as you move. By the time you reach the gate, it's almost like, rather than floating through void, it's like swimming through water. You're able to grab onto the gate and pull yourselves through. Do you want to completely pass through?
Nathrali will, but only because the god told her that he wanted her to go through.
Definitely pass through. But before Talthay completely goes through the gate, she'll kind of look around at her surroundings and see. Babe, what's your character's name?
Zildath.
Zildath, she'll see the two of you and staggers a bit, hesitates to go through, and tries to shout across this void, hey, do you need help?
So you hear this sort of high-pitched, almost chipmunk, uh, inaudible. You can't tell what you're saying, but it seems to be calling to you.
So Zildath is making sure that the woman is following him. He is slowly moving towards the gate. He's keeping an eye on it, keeping an eye on Death, kind of like Bun's character did. Not quite looking him in the eye, but eye level, making sure that it's not like some kind of trick, because he's always kind of wary of those things. And then he sees he sees the bard kind of, and he can't quite make it out because she sounds like a chipmunk. So I don't know if you could see that his face is kind of becomes like very curious looking, like he's trying to understand, but he just kind of shrugs his shoulders and keeps walking towards you towards the gate. And once he gets there, he will pause and wait for the woman to go through first.
So by the time you get about halfway there, it's like swimming through pudding. And
Pudding.
you look over and you see the woman's getting rather alarmed and trying to swim against it harder. And it's getting more difficult. And as you look up at the god of death, you see almost like he's fading away, and you begin to realize it's like the void around you is starting to fade away as well, or sort of collapse in toward you. So by the time you reach the gate, and this woman here who was shouting at you in the chipmunk voice, it's like swimming through cement. And you can see on the other side everything looks vibrant and bright. You can see in more clarity on the other side than you've ever seen before. It's like you're on acid, but behind you feels suffocating. You all pull yourselves through?
Yes.
100%. Nathrali would have immediately started pulling herself through.
Yeah, Tokia is just getting angry and focusing her anger on getting through.
Yeah, Zildath is trying to pull himself through, and he's also kind of conscious of those around him. And as he's pulling himself through, he's looking to see if anyone is struggling or stuck or needs help. He doesn't know if he can, but he's looking.
So you look behind you, there's no one else behind you. It's just you six. But as the man that you don't recognize, who went first ahead of everyone else, he grabs on the Artoy with all his strength and just rips himself free, goes tumbling out onto the grass, way out of the way. Whoever's next to arrive, you manage to rip yourself free and go tumbling out onto the grass, and then the next, and then the last three of you, just it's really a struggle, but you just manage to rip yourselves free. And as the two that had already gone through, Nethrali and Tokia, you look back and see almost ethereal, ghost-like hands reaching out from seemingly nowhere to grab something that's not there and become solid and real, just as they rip themselves out, and these now physical people come tumbling out of nothing. And you all come tumbling out of the gate onto the grass, free of the gateway, and as you land, it's like a bed of nails. Every blade, you can feel every blade of grass with a hyper-realism. And as you take your first breath, it's like breathing sand, and every extremity is tingling like you've been sleeping on it the wrong way for days. And as you lose consciousness, you look up and see the sky and life, and then you black out. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Yeah, thanks, Hes. So we're all fucking on the ground, knocked the fuck out after just escaping from death. Great.
We escaped the afterlife. Good job.
Yeah, you were resurrected. By the way, that was actually a resurrection, like that was a true resurrection spell. If you're
Wow, okay.
So
Zildath is going
that
to
is-
really wonder about that. But he'll, yeah. If he ever wakes up, he'll be looking in the mirror hard as hell at himself, poking himself a lot.
You.
Are you all here and ready to?
Present.
Okay.
Present.
So you all slowly begin to awaken. It feels like hours, but it could be minutes. You're not really sure. And as you do, it still feels like sand rushing into your lungs, but it's fading, and your limbs are still tingling, but not as bad. By the way, are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. So your limbs are still tingling, but not as bad, and the blades of grass, they feel less like nails and more like sand. Everything just kind of stings, but you're alive, and you can tell you're alive because it hurts. As you kind of start to look around, you see, looks like everyone made it through. You look where the gate was, and you see an altar to death, and around it, headstones of graves. You're in a graveyard on a cliff overlooking the city of Ekron. And Talith, what's your name? Talithe? Talithe. You notice something catches your eye sitting next to the altar. There's a glint of metal. It's a full set of plate armor that you don't recognize, and then sitting next to it, along with a couple other items, is a violin. It's your violin. And next to that is a pile of various assorted clothes.
Are we naked?
That'd be my question.
I was sitting here thinking, are we naked?
At that moment, you see a butt-naked human running for the armor.
Wait, a butt-naked human running where?
For the armor.
The armor. The human that you don't recognize running for.
So we're all naked?
All of your armor and equipment, because true resurrection only restores flesh.
Oh.
Nethali's gonna sigh to herself, very irritated, and she's going to get up and go and collect the clothing that looks like hers.
Talthe is trying to cover all aspects of her, and all you hear is, "What on earth is this?"
Like, okay.
So Zildath will wake up kind of hard, and he's looking around, and he's, taking a second to get his bearings. Then there's that wince because everything hurts. And then he sees a butt-naked guy. And then he sees 2 naked women, 3 naked women. And now he's like, oh, and the name of his god, because he wouldn't say, oh God, he'd say, oh, the name of his god. And now he's looking down at the ground, and now he's covering his eyes. And he, hopefully they can realize that maybe he's alive now. He calls out, will you please let me know when you are dressed?
So as you looked around, especially Zildath, you would have seen this woman that came out next to you that you'd gone back and rescued. For a moment, you can't quite recognize her face. You're not sure what species she is. It looks odd, and then you kind of blink and oh, she's a half elf, and then you look down at the ground and try to avoid eye contact with everything.
Yep. So he's just kind of, and he will move his other hand over his dragon bits. So Zildath is sitting there with one hand over his nuts, the other hand over his face, and he's looking down at the ground, just waiting for them to tell him that they are dressed.
Tokia, oddly enough, doesn't care. She's just sitting there watching everybody with mild amusement, coughing every once in a while like she's trying to get sand out of her throat, but mostly just whatever.
Nephrola just ignores them all and puts her clothes on.
Talbot finally hops on over to the altar, trying to cover herself up while hastily putting on her blue and purple clothing.
Are you all dressed?
So the human isn't really paying any attention and just puts his own armor on. It seems really his face is really red if anyone looks. The woman, Banner, did you say your character's just kind of sitting there staring at everyone?
React to nakedness with like some amusement.
So you would probably notice, you would also notice this woman that Zildath rescued. You don't recognize her race either at first, and then after a moment, she kind of looks up and looks around at everyone, and then you can tell she's a half elf. So she kind of does the same that Talathe is doing, and like tries to awkwardly cover herself and run for her clothes. And you all find all the gear that you had, just everything that your character had when you died. It's all just there neatly in a pot.
So eventually Tokia gets up, stretches, is just like totally not giving a shit that she's fucking naked, and strolls over and picks up her stuff. And the first thing she does is put her septum ring back in. Wait, that's a question. Are all the piercings and tattoos gone, or is it like new baby body, or is it as
no
was?
any like tattoos and piercings are still there. Your nose ring would be on the pile of stuff, but anything like your flesh is as it was, and just anything non-flesh is.
When
Okay.
Nephrola has her belly button ring back in, she's going to pick up the clothes that look like they belong to the dragon, the dragonborn, and she'll take them over to him and leave them next to him and walk away without saying anything.
He will. He notices that someone has dropped clothes, but he won't look up yet. He will just say, "Thank you."
She'll smile to herself, but she still won't say anything.
So obviously he's putting on his pants first, but if anyone is looking at his torso, they will notice that he has quite a few scars. Quite a few.
Well, always naked Tokia is just like, you've been in a fight. And then just kind of puts on her clothes and makes sure all her stuff is in her bag, and then just kind of pulls it up.
As soon as Tally's fully dressed and all, she picks up her violin and actually kisses it and gives it a hug, and does the same thing to her katana before strapping it to her belt.
So Zildath looks over at... I'm sorry, Brandon, what's your character's name?
Tokya.
Tokyo. he looks
you
over
look-
at he looks over at her, and if she's still taking her sweet ass time and she just got her titties all out still, he's just he'll glance over and then look away and go about putting his clothes on, but he will say, "Yes, I've been in a few." Once he is dressed, he will then go looking for the rest of his gear, and when he finds his prayer reel, he will hold it up and he will say a little, close his eyes for a second, say a little something of thanks, and then he'll put the rest of his gear on. But he will be very interested in the altar that our gear was around.
Nathrali had, after she handed him his clothing, had gone back to the altar and was looking at it. Are there any markings on the altar?
So you see what looks like a pretty standard altar of death. It's almost like think like a Cinco de Mayo kind of altar, just a simple dedication to the dead.
So there aren't any runes in Draconic or Infernal or anything like that?
Actually, there are quite a few, but they look like just various, runes, various inscriptions left by various people in all sorts of different languages.
Nothing that's natural to the altar.
Well, it's like wishes for or thoughts to the dead. It's basically a Cinco
Prayers.
de Mayo.
Yeah.
Prayers.
That sort of thing.
So
But you don't see anything that jumps out as odd.
Tokyo rummages in her bag, looks around, grabs a small handful of nondescript wildflowers that are in the area, and puts them on the altar with a handful of coins.
At that, Nathrali is gonna take a dagger out of her pack that she had picked up and cut her hand and smear it across the altar.
Talathe will look over at her and say, What are you doing?
Nathrali is gonna look at Talthe, but she's not gonna respond. Because she doesn't know these people.
Zildath has put a holy amulet around his neck, and he's tucked it underneath his armor. And since the altar itself doesn't look any different, he notices what the two ladies do. Now he's looking around for someone. He kind of nods at the woman that he rescued in the death, basically. But he kind of says to himself, someone had to have performed the spell. And now he's kind of just looking around to see what he can see in the surrounding area of this graveyard they're in.
At that, Nathrali is going to look right at him. And she's going to ask, what spell?
We wouldn't have been resurrected by chance. Someone did something to bring us back. Someone asked the gods, someone asked permission. I do not believe the gods would have just randomly have chosen me and said, you died, come home. I don't. I think someone did something.
Nathrali will acknowledge that he spoke to her, but she won't say anything else.
Talathe steps away from the altar and steps a little bit closer to where we're on a cliff, yeah?
Yeah, you're on a cliff face overlooking Ekron.
She's, cautiously, of course, stands a bit closer to the edge of the cliff and just cautiously looking around, and she still occasionally touches her neck to make sure, everything's there. All the insides are there.
So as all the tingliness goes away, that particular area of your neck, if you've decided that that's how she died,
Yeah.
that particular area of the neck is the last to remain tingling. You're not sure if it's just psychosomatic or if it's an effect of the spell, but it's right there. It remains tingling the last until it finally fades.
So, yeah. While you guys are all doing that, after she has laid her offering on the altar, is kind of heading down the side of the cliff, making her way towards the city. Still occasionally shaking her hands, kicking out her feet like a kind of like a dog or a wolf would do when they wake up. She's doing that.
So there is actually a pathway leading from the graveyard, sort of around the cliff to the city. It's not like super well traveled, but it's definitely a pathway. People from the city come here to this graveyard from time to time.
So Takia follows that.
Nethrali is going to notice that she's walking down a path that she hadn't seen before. It's going to start following. She's not going to say anything. She's just going to start following.
Zildath is going to study the area one more time. And then if he still can't see any indication of anything out of the ordinary, he will look towards the town, cock his head back and forth, and then he will begin to walk down the path.
And what's Talathay doing?
She stands there for about a minute more, watching everyone continue down the path. She doesn't want to follow them immediately like a trailing puppy, and she just thinks to herself, I really want to drink. I want a tavern. I need something familiar. I need to go right now and get drunk right now. So finally she slowly makes her way down the path, keeping a fair distance away from the rest.
The man and the woman that you don't know, you don't recognize, they follow along with the main group. The man is now dressed in very polished and buffed fancy armor, and I'm going to borrow a little trick from a previous GM here and use photos of celebrities to give you an idea of what the NPCs look like.
It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When she realizes that the man and the woman are following them, Nethrali is going to stop on the path, and she's going to turn and she's going to go, who are you? Are you fucking kidding me? God damn it.
This motherfucker.
What am I missing? Where is this stuff going?
It's
I'm
in
in
the
the wrong channel.
D&D chat.
Okay, and who is this? Oh, this is the random
That's the
dude.
guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's the one wearing the fancy armor, right, Hess?
Yeah, he's very fancy. He looks like a paladin.
Mm.
Yes, he does.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pun for paladin.
Oh, God. When the question is asked, though, Zildith he will pause and he will glance over at the two and kind of linger, like he's very curious as to the answer to this question.
So, were you asking one of them in particular, or both?
Both of them.
So the man will be the first to speak out, very kind of puff his chest out and very proudly say, "Devlin Rake's the name." And then
Wait, what? Devlin Rake?
Devlin Rake. Devlin. Oh, let me just.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. Nethrali is just going to kind of roll her eyes because she has no idea the importance of that name.
he seems after a moment after you don't seem to recognize him, seems slightly not really offended, but irritated that you don't seem to recognize his name.
Nethrali
You
is
don't
for
know who I
sure.
am.
Nethrali is for sure gonna notice that, and she's. Is he human?
Yes, he is human.
Okay. She's gonna smile in the most upsetting way she can possibly manage and go, "What's wrong, human? Not used to people knowing your name?"
He kind of sneers at, or what's the word? Like a smirk, but not like I don't know what
Sneer.
I'm looking for. Sneer, I guess. Yeah, it kind of like gives you a weird look, like.
So
She's gonna smile, but she's gonna make sure it's the kind of like really snotty smile that shows all of her teeth. And she's gonna turn to the woman and go, "And you are?"
She kind of shyly like looks up and says almost inaudibly, starts to say her name, then clears her throat and says it more clearly. Leona Ziha is my name, ma'am.
At that, Nethrali will actually smile in a much more comforting way, and she'll go, "Thank you." She won't acknowledge the man if he gets huffy or anything like that, but she will say thank you to the woman in the most polite way she can to try and ease her fright.
She kind of smiles at that, and the man looks over at her with kind of a, a mixed look. You can't tell if he's thinking of flirting with her or if he's kind of disgusted or what. He's got a mixed look on his face.
Nethrali's going to notice, and she's going to step closer to Zia. And she's going to very politely say, why don't you walk up here with me?
Zildath will look at Devlin Rake. He will say to them, "Devlin, are you aware of anyone who have wanted to resurrect you?"
Well, I can think of many, but I can't think of any who would have been there or would have done it in such a way. I mean, I would have expected to be resurrected in a temple,
Yes.
with fanfare, not this disgraceful mess.
Nethrali's going to roll her eyes at that. And she's going to turn to him and say, "What better temple than a graveyard for the god of dead?"
Very stoic expression on his face.
In the Bacco group, Talthe has her hand up to her mouth, like trying to cover a small snicker.
Have any of you ever heard of a group as large as ours being resurrected at once?
At that, Nethrali's going to shake her head no.
Just in storybooks.
He'll look over at your character and tell me of this, if you don't mind.
That's nothing crazy. It's all just hearsay. Just not gods, but fairies taking people out of, the grip of death, but, just kid stuff.
It could matter, though.
Indeed, look at us. We are all back from the dead, all of us, at once. Your stories could have weight.
The god of death doesn't allow people to come through his gate normally.
Maybe he wasn't a god then.
Death is most certainly a god. Be
If
careful
not
what
God,
you
then
say.
what is he?
At this, Leona kind of speaks up, walking up with you. She starting to get a little bit more confident. She speaks up and says, "It is said that on some occasions the god of death can be reasoned with if the need is great, or if something great enough can be offered. Death may let you go."
At that, Nathrali will turn to Liana and she'll say, "But who did the offering?
And
I don't recall."
And what did they offer? Because we owe someone a debt then.
Let us hope it's the god we owe. The price is less.
I don't own any gods. So I guess
you
I
don't
pay a
own-
debt.
At that, Nathrali's gonna laugh. "Oh, you don't own the gods, my dear. The gods own you."
They don't even own each other.
"Oh, they're not meant to own each other. They're just meant to own us."
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to believe, but look at what has happened with your own eyes. Something stronger than a human is responsible for this, or perhaps a human who has made a bargain on our behalf. Either way, I think perhaps we should know why.
At her insistence that the gods don't exist, Nathrali's going to turn to her and go, "Would you prefer to owe a demon? Or do you not owe even them either?"
Well, if anyone owned anything, they'd just lie about it because that's their gig, and I know a bit of something like that.
Nathrali is just going to shake her head and ignore the bard from then on.
It's just one big sick game, that's all it is. I would like to know the reason, but I think that's all it is.
It is possible that this is some sort of... I don't know. At any rate, my name is Zildath, and I will be honest with you all, I am a blood hunter. That is why I was in Death's doorway.
Nathrali's not going to recognize the term. And she's going to look at Zildath and she's going to ask, "What is a blood hunter?"
I fight that which is undead and which is evil, which preys upon the weak in the night. It was why I was so hesitant to leave. I did not want to come back as the thing that I have spent my life killing. And often as a blood hunter, I use... He'll pause, looking for the right word. Unconventional methods to murder the darkness.
Well, there are worse things.
Say, while you guys are discussing this, Takia has stopped walking down the hill every couple of feet, picked up the occasional blade of grass, sniffed it, nibbled it, and she's just kind of idly listening to your conversation. But when she heard that, she just laughed and carried on.
A blood hunter, that's such a poetic title. My goodness.
For a moment, Zildath is actually going to look amused, and he'll say, "No one has ever called me poetic."
No? My goodness. A tavern would have a field day with you.
I do not linger in taverns. I make people uncomfortable.
Oh, really? Most of them are drunk. They love to look at you.
Nathrali is going to roll her eyes and turn to make eye contact with Zildath, because as a tiefling, she completely understands exactly what he means, and she's just going to smirk.
he'll give her like a nod, but he's still kind of like amused. So it's like he's amused at the bard's take on this. And he's just gonna say, "But anyway, that's me. What about the rest of you? Paladin? That's what you are, is it not? Judging by your armor."
Ah, you recognize it, yes. I am...
The armor, not your face.
Zildath is going to
Probably
cough
kinda
really,
like-
really hard to cover up his fucking laugh.
Yeah, he goes silent for a second. It just twinge on his face of all right, and continues. Yes, I'm a paladin of the order. I too fight evil across the land.
What is your oath?
That's a good question.
You're welcome. I'm playing a paladin right now, so I couldn't resist but ask.
When they start talking, Talitha casually brings up her violin. She doesn't get the bow out or anything. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Piccato, where she's just
Pizzicato. I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. It's
she's
pizzicato.
casually strumming the strings.
I'm so excited that I remembered that term.
I know. I used to play. I should have remembered.
My sister used to play, and that's the only reason I know. I played the flute, but I didn't play for very long. But for some reason, pizzicato was one of the things that I remembered.
But yeah, she's just casually giving her hands something to do. Still a bit antsy from before.
So he responds with the oath of devotion as my father and his father before him.
Oh, an inherited oath. How cute. And she's going to turn back to Crystal's character and just raise her
seems to sort of
eyebrow.
Grit his teeth at that, but he's still grit. Like he's trying not to frown, but he's gritting his.
There is honor in the respect of your family, Paladin. How did you die?
You said it was the oath of honor, right, Hess?
Devotion.
Devotion. Okay.
It was a glorious battle, but unfortunately I was overwhelmed.
I see. Were you alone, or were there more with you?
There were a few others, but there were too many of the enemy. We couldn't hold them back.
So you died with others, not alone, but they are not here.
That is a good point.
That is curious.
And then he starts kind of thinking for what seems like the first time since y'all appeared.
At his seeming need to gather himself, Nathrali is going to look at Leanna and she's going to very politely ask, "And what of you, Leanna?" Because she wants to know if this woman has magic like she does or not.
She kind of thinks for a moment, and you all know that like as you're trying to remember, it's kind of fuzzy, but if you really think about it, you're able to remember how you died. And she thinks about it for a moment and thinks and says, I think I was doing research in my lab. I was studying something. There was a man who came and brought an artifact I didn't recognize. He asked me to study it, see what I could find, and then I'm not sure what happened.
At that, Nathrali is going to look at her and go, "So are you an artificer?"
Sometimes, though typically, you might call me okay, out of character. I'm blanking on the term. Fuck, what's it called?
I don't think that's it.
Eberron class.
It's a what?
It is artificer.
It is artificer.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Never. Rewind. Yes. Yes, I'm an artificer.
That is very, very interesting. Can you describe the artifact that you were studying?
I love you, Crystal. That was my next question.
It's okay, I'm on your brainwave.
Good question. It was strange. It seemed ancient, and I couldn't recognize the symbols on it. I was trying to decipher the writing, but it was ancient as well.
Pixel, what is your character's name? I'm sorry, I'm blanking.
Talathay.
I'm
At
happy
that-
everybody's dying down because I'm not remembering tonight either for whatever reason.
It's so bad. So at the mention of the artifact and and Liana trying to describe it, Nethrali is going to turn to Talathay and ask, as politely as she can, despite the fact that she already does not like the bard, simply because of the whole denying the gods, which is something that Nethrali knows better than to do. So it's actually made her a little terrified of the bard, to be perfectly honest. She's going to turn to Tethrali? Talathrali.
No, Talathay.
Talathay. I'm sorry. Talathay. Okay, let me. Talathay. She's gonna ask as politely as she possibly can. Do you by chance have any parchment and ink with you?
She stops picking at the violin strings and looks up and says, "You betcha, honey, I do." So she straps the violin back to herself and digs into her bag and gets out a parchment and a charcoal pencil.
Nethrali is going to politely walk up to her and nod her head and take them. She's gonna thank Talathay, and then she's gonna turn to Leanna and hand her the parchment and the charcoal pencil and ask, "Would it be easier if you sketched them?"
I can try, and she begins trying to crudely sketch what she can remember from.
Zildeth will move closer if it does not make her uncomfortable and offer his back.
Nethrali will partially shield Zildath to make him more comfortable, so that he can be closer.
Oh no, so he doesn't make her uncomfortable by being so close.
I know, but
yep.
She kind of nods her thanks and mumbles, kind of thank you, and tries to sketch it out.
While she's doing that, Zildath will look over at Talathay and say, gently, what about you, non-believer? What happened to you?
She tried to hide a little bit of a smirk, and all she said was, "Well, I was trying to find some people. Couldn't quite find them, but other people found me."
And what is your name?
Oh, I'm Talathay, but I guess you can call me Tally if you want.
So he'll look down the path and see, is Tokia still in range, or is she just fucking eating grass and fucking running around in the fields naked with her tits out?
She's put her clothes back on. But she's less concerned about nudity than everybody else.
What
but
race
she's not
are you,
far.
by the way, Bander?
She's half elf.
Half elf, okay.
She's half drow.
What kind of elf?
Drow.
Okay. Sorry, I had to specifically ask because my paladin is half wood elf.
Yeah.
Also, Leanna is half elf, and she looks very fair-skinned.
Got it.
So drow or high elf, Hess?
It's hard to tell exactly. She just looks half elf and very like light skinned. It's kind of hard to tell specifics.
Very high
She
elf.
just looks
Okay.
like a generic.
Talthay would look very sun-kissed, like she's been outside a lot.
Nice. So he'll look over at Tokia and he'll call out, "And you?"
Okay, we'll stop what she's doing, which is, kind of sniffing the air and looking around and like trying to get her bearings or whatever, and look at him. And she just goes, Tokia. Why?
It is nice to meet you, Tokia. How did you die?
As
No
Cactus
hesitation,
Geralt.
just how did you die?
There you go. Hey, look.
This is literally Geralt we have in the party.
Have you met Zildath?
Harold.
Bit, and then she goes, well, it wasn't in bed of old age, I'll tell you that. Let's just say that the sooner we find out, or you guys decide whatever we're doing, the sooner that I can get back to apparently avenging my own death.
At her mentioning avenging herself, Nathrali will smile and she'll say, "Happy hunting."
I wish you luck with that. And you, Nathrala? And you? I don't know. I don't remember if your character told us her name. Did she
She
tell us?
hasn't. She has not said her name.
Okay.
She is not.
It's kind of, he's gonna kind of like chin to shoulder since he's not moving because someone is using his back as a desk. Kind of, and you?
Nathrali will sigh. And for a moment she'll hesitate. And she'll make eye contact with him. And make sure that he is paying attention.
She has his
And
full
when-
and complete attention.
She'll say, "Humans." And I'm Nathrali. And she won't say anything else.
He will just nod. Kind of, and it's like an understanding thing. He will nod.
She knew as soon as she said it that he would understand. Just from interacting with him. But if anyone's going to understand what it's like to be a tiefling, a dragonborn would know.
Hey, Devlin, was it?
At that, Nathrali's going to snort.
He kind of looks up and snaps out of his deep thought and, yes?
Do you know why paladins prefer chainmail armor? It's because it's holy.
Nathrali is just going to die.
Even if you snorts it that way.
Zildath is going to kind of cock his head and look at Tally like he doesn't understand.
At his look of confusion, Nathrali is going to very, very... It's going to take her a minute. She's going to try very hard to regain composure, and she's going to say, "Instead of having holes in it, it's a holy armor."
and now you kind of see the understanding on his face, and he, and like he slowly is starting to smile, and it's happening like inch by inch by inch, and now he's chuckling, but like he's trying to hold himself still.
And Nathrali just starts cracking up again. Like, is just absolutely reveling in the fact that the bard got a dragonborn to giggle.
Meanwhile, Talthay is all proud of herself, making this high-pitched, ridiculous cackling.
Oh.
So through all of this, Devlin just looks like the most offended and you can tell at first he doesn't understand it. He just knows that he should be offended. So he just looks so offended. And then he's not even paying attention when you explain it to Zildath. He's just kind of stomping along. Offended. He doesn't even know why he's offended. He just knows he's offended.
And his stomping, Nathrali is just gonna smile so much harder and laugh so much deeper. She is just getting so much amusement out of his discomfort. Because not only is he human, but he's also supposed to be the epitome of perfect humanity. So for her, this is just the icing on the cake.
You miss that the paladin is offended and doesn't know why he's offended. It's awesome.
And he's stomping around.
And he's stomping around.
Nice.
Mhm.
And when you first tell the joke, Leanna, you see her trying so hard not to laugh.
Catching the fact that Leanna is trying to suppress laughter, Nathrali is going to very, very slowly lean down to one of her ears and go, "It's okay to laugh. Can't get mad at you."
So,
Be mean, though.
Zildath will resume his kind of stoic expression. As you can kind of see in his eyes that he's still kind of very amused, especially because the
BRB.
paladin's like stomping around like a child. And he kind of looks at them all and goes, "If you were killed by someone and we return to this town, be on your guard because that someone or someones could still be around, and I am sure they will probably not be pleased to see us again."
That's quite true. You make a good point.
At that, Nathrali is going to look at him and go, shit, where is it? Where is it? I know I wrote it down. Were you in Ekron when you died?
Yes.
I wasn't. What about you, Leanna?
Yes, my lab is in Ekron.
Perhaps this is a good thing.
Lord Rake, were you in Ekron?
I was
She
near.
snickers when she says Lord Rake.
Yeah, he kind of puffs up his chest a little when you say that. A little bit of pride, and yeah. Well, I was near Ekron. I was just outside the borders of the city, fighting a very glorious battle when I died.
And what were you fighting, Lord Rake?
There was word of a bear attack, and we found a whole family of bears. It was terrifying.
You
Just
were
regular
killed
bear?
by a bear.
Well,
They
it sounds
were-
like you should have brought the bare necessities.
You pigs.
Zildath is
Leanna-
going to look over at her very confused again.
This time, Nathrali has no idea what she's talking about.
God, Pixel's gonna pun all night.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Leanna's just giggling while she's drawing. Devlin has no idea what you're talking about, but feels like he should be offended again.
Zildath is now just kind of looking over at him, and he's just like, "You and those with you were murdered by bears."
Well, I certainly was. It's possible that the others may have escaped.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I didn't actually see them go down.
Are you a new recruit, Devlin?
At that, Nathrali is going to try to suppress her laughter because she doesn't want him to be angry at Zildeth. But God, that was funny to her.
Certainly not. I was leading the expedition.
Were you drunk?
At that,
Of course.
Nathrali can't contain it anymore and just falls over laughing hysterically.
I don't see what's so funny. I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life.
Oh, how
You
cute!
were killed by a bear. You claim to be a paladin that fights the darkness, but you were felled and got your men killed by wildlife?
Nathrali is going to turn to Zildeth and go, "Oh, I like you so much," and just start cracking up harder.
You can really see Devlin's face get red, and he's stomping along. Just
It is without question, then, that there is some sort of human hand that brought us back, because I refuse to believe that the gods would have resurrected a paladin that was murdered by a bear. He's just like really offended right now. Like Devlin's like offended, and him Zildath being like a soldier and a warrior is like fucking offended.
That Nathrali is going to sober up slightly and go, "Yes, but what of yourself? Do you not think the gods would have brought you back?"
He'll kind of settle down a little bit after that, and he's thinking, and he just says, "I don't know. I did not die fighting the darkness. I was killed by someone stronger than I."
Was it a human?
No.
Do you mind telling me exactly how you died?
Let's just say I was killed by someone stronger than I, and leave it at that for now.
Nathalia will respect his wishes, but she'll remember that he decided not to confide in her.
Your choice has been remembered.
Nathalia will remember this.
He will remember. He'll look over at Talathay. And you, were you killed in the city below?
I was actually, well, I was killed in a wedding.
all of you would have been near Ekron when you died. Maybe not in Ekron, but you would have all been near.
Nathrali might not have realized that she was near Ekron. She just stopped at an inn.
Also, Ekron is a river port city, so like there's
trade. Okay, yes.
It's a big trading city.
I know. Yep.
It's known as being a trade. Like it's known across all the lands as being a trading. So it's very easy. You could have ended up there.
Oh, you're gonna hate me for this next line. Nathrali is going to sigh before Talathay starts her story and goes, "I was on a boat."
Did you fuck a mermaid? He doesn't say that.
I'm on a boat. I'm sorry. I love you. Anyway, Talathay, how did you die?
Well, I too was in the city. I actually died in a wedding.
It wasn't yours, was it?
No, it wasn't a wedding. I've never been close to marriage. I was hired to play there.
Yes.
But you notice that when she said I was hired to play there, she looked a bit... That facial expression when someone looks down slightly when they're lying.
Taishay's not going to... God.
So it was she was half of the truth, half of a lie. She kind of...
Nathrali's not going. Nithrali's not going to say anything out loud about it, but she is going to remember the look. Yeah. Nithrali remembers. Nithrali will remember this. That's going to be a recurring theme. Nithrali will remember this.
So Zildath will kind of look at her and then he'll nod. He'll nod. Did you see the face of those who killed you?
Yes, actually, funnily enough, there was actually 3. 2 men held me down to my knees, and a dwarf cut my throat.
Do you know if they are likely to be in the town?
Probably.
Why did they kill you?
It's just business.
Just business.
Zildath has cocked an eyebrow.
What business are you in, Bard?
That's not really your concern.
It is if I'm going to be traveling with you, and right now I am.
Well, we'll get to know each other in the coming events if we do travel.
We're currently traveling. Why did they kill you?
I mean, we all 6 of us died, so anything could happen. You could die from a strike of lightning and we won't be traveling no more.
Except no one slit my throat. I was lynched for being a tiefling. Now why did the dwarf slit your throat?
Don't take that tone with me, horny.
Don't tell me what to say.
Don't tell me what to tell you.
Ladies, please. He will hold up his
Also,
dragon hand.
don't be racist and call me horny again.
Okay.
Fucking light on fire next time.
All right. I think the most pressing thing to know about each other is who killed us. So if we have to venture back into the town, we know if we are going to be attacked again. I don't know if we'll be given a second chance at life. Or is this a third?
I have no intention of going in that town again.
Don't you want to get drunk? Forget about this a little
Drunk
bit.
in a different town. I got drunk in the town I died in.
I suspect that what this woman behind me is drawing may have something to do with why we're all here, considering we all died in the same area as this mysterious thing. Would it not stand to reason that some sort of magic has brought us back?
It's around that time that she sort of finishes and hands you the image she's been drawing, and the object itself is unrecognizable. It looks so strange, unlike anything you can't even figure out what it's meant to be, but you do almost kind of recognize, specifically Zildath, you kind of almost recognize a couple of the symbols from the monastery, from very, very ancient inscriptions.
Would I be able to recall what type of book I saw these inscriptions?
Roll a knowledge religion check.
Oh.
Or just religion check.
Knowledge religion. Yo, that's my specialty, son. So
Well,
that's a +5 to my roll. What dice is that?
D20.
D20.
can Nethrali do a check too?
Yes. Anyone who wants to can try to do a knowledge religion.
Bruh. Man, get good, Zildath. At least it wasn't a 1.
What the fuck?
Who did you roll? What?
Oh, hold on. I know what I did.
That's cool. I like that number.
Oh, damn.
Damn!
Ooh, stop 20.
Uh-huh. So, Zildath wishes he had studied more.
If it had been an Arcana check, she would have had a +4 with proficiency.
If you wanted to try to make an Arcana check to figure out what the object is, you could.
Can I do both?
Yeah. And does Talitha want to make any?
Let me see. To remember something that I have. Because I definitely don't have knowledge religion.
Also, if you guys want to whisper somebody, like if you want to specifically whisper Hess, what you'll type in is /W space and then Hess's name
Good to know.
in the chat.
I don't think I have anything she can really use to make a check for.
Okay.
I mean, you could technically still do the religion check even if you don't have a modifier on it.
Yeah, you can. It's just
You're less
I'd
likely.
taken though into account like if you actually do have proficiency in something, or if you have a like something from your background that would help you with something, then I'm going to kind of adjust it accordingly.
Yeah.
But you can still make a check anyway. You might be able
Okay.
to figure something out.
Sure. I know how to type. There we go.
You definitely don't know, baby.
That's not her area of expertise.
That's fair.
So
Also, Hannah, I do love you. I wasn't like calling you racist, just so you know. Like, I felt so terrible when that came out of my mouth. I was like, oh, I
No,
hope
it's
she's fair, but I have to say this.
Talitha will probably call herself a knife ear at some point.
Mm.
Damn.
so she's
Wait,
an
is
equal
Tal-
opportunity offender.
Okay, that's fine. But like, is Talthay half elf?
Yeah, she's half elf.
Okay, I called her a human because
Oh,
I
you
didn't
did?
notice her ears. Yes,
Oh,
Nathrali
no,
called her
she's
a
not
human.
human.
Yeah, I don't think she noticed her ears.
Well, her hair is down right now.
Okay, well then that would be why. All right. So now I feel really, really terrible.
So Talitha, you see this thing, it just looks completely alien to you. You have no idea what you're looking at. It seems ominous. You get this sense of foreboding. You don't want to really look at it. Zildath, you kind of you vaguely remember something about it being not good, but you're not sure what.
Okay.
Like you remember seeing those symbols in the context of this is not something good.
Got it.
But Nathrali uh, with the symbols, they look very similar to like you don't actually recognize the symbols, you don't think you've seen them, but they look similar in form to things that you've seen related to death and undeath and the gods and ancient long forgotten magic. And as you look at the form of this thing, the sort of shape of it, you can tell it looks like it's supposed to be something recognizable, but it looks like it's been damaged or warped somehow. Like this isn't what it's supposed to look like. This isn't its normal form. It's an object that has been warped and damaged. And it's something magic related.
So Zildath is kind of staring at the drawings, and his eyes are kind of scrunched, and he's thinking heavily, and he says, and he kind of points to some of the symbols, and he says, I've seen these before. I've seen these before in books where I come from, and they're not. They were forbidden.
So Nathrali has alabaster white skin. She is very, very pale. And looking at the drawing that Leanna drew for them, every ounce of color is going to completely drain from her. And she's not going to know how to articulate the knowledge that she has. So all she is going to say is, this is wrong. And you should not have messed with it, and you should not have dabbled with this, Leanna.
Zildath will look up at Nathrali, noticing that she is now whiter than white, and he will say, "You know what this is. Tell us."
At that, Nathrali is going to look at him, and she's going to close her eyes briefly and take a deep breath. And she's going to say, I don't know exactly what this is, but it relates to the gods, death and undeath. It isn't right, though. Normally, this artifact would be different. This one is wrong.
He will turn and he will look at Liliana, and he will say to her, Lyanna, what do you remember of this, of what you did with it? Please try and remember.
I barely had time to study it. I don't even know who brought it to me. He wouldn't show me his face, but he was insistent that I keep quiet about it and find out what I can. I was going first. I tried to detect magic on it and see if it was magical. It showed traces, and I was trying to identify it.
At the word traces, Nathrali is going to very, very gently, light as a feather, place her hand on Lyanna's shoulder and go, traces of what?
That's what was so strange about it. Normally, when detecting magic, you can tell what kind it is, but I couldn't tell what kind.
At that, Nathrali's shoulders are going to slump, but she's not going to move her hand off of Lyanna's shoulder. She's going to squeeze very gently as if to calm her, to get her to continue saying what she was going to say.
She kind of takes a breath and calms a little bit and continues. I was trying to identify it, identify spell. It just didn't work. All it told me was that it was a chunk of material. I couldn't get any sort of reading from it. I was going to look into it more, but that's all I remember. I never even got to continue my studies on it.
Do you think that the artifact is still in your lab?
That's a good assumption, unless someone's moved it.
We must go there now, and we must make haste.
Nathrali will move fully into Lyanna's line of sight, and she's going to very gently pull the hand that she had on Lyanna's shoulder off and brush her hair back behind her ear and ask in the most beguiling way she possibly can. And yes, she is using her persuasion right now. So if I need to roll for it, I will. But she is going to ask, will you please show us where your lab is?
Yeah, go ahead and roll the persuasion.
Right. Has
That'd be a D20 plus whatever your persuasion modifier is.
Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just immediately. Yes, of course. I'll take you right there.
Nithrali will very gently move her hands off of Leanna because she doesn't want to make her uncomfortable. And she'll sigh to herself and say thank you and follow Leanna.
Talithe finally pipes up and says, if you couldn't see his face, did you catch anything of what he or she was wearing? Sometimes that's more important than the face. I know that sounds odd, but it's true.
At that, Nithrali will nod and say, or if you can tell us what he might have smelled like, if he was close enough.
It was it was hard to tell. He didn't get too close. He left the object on a table, and we spoke from a distance. His voice, he was clearly speaking strangely, so I couldn't recognize it.
Was he speaking common, or was it just he had an accent?
No, he was speaking common, but he was speaking in a growly voice. It's not uncommon for people to try to hide their identity when making these sorts of requests. And my line.
Nithrali nodded, but was frustrated, clearly. Not with Leanna, though.
I would wish I could deal with a more reputable clientele, but unfortunately, I have to take the work I can get.
Nithrali is going to very calmly say, believe me, I understand.
All towns look the same and smell the same to me.
Nithrali is going to take her pack off and start ripping her bedroll and hand shards of it to Talithe and Zildeth so that they can cover their faces or any identifying marks they might have.
Well, speaking of bedroll, it's about this time that Tokia, you begin to realize you're not going to make it to the city before nightfall. You're either going to have to travel through the night or make camp somewhere. And the area around you is lightly forested, so there are plenty of open spaces where you can make camp.
Her tail back. She will wiggle her tail back at him and say yes. But if there's anything particularly identifying about you, you can cover it. And they'll just assume that you're like every other dragonborn that's come through the city. Wait, what? Nithrali's not going to know. Nithrali's not going to know that.
You see Devlin look back and see the tail and kind of give a weird look, and then look at you and look at your tail, look back at you, back at the tail, like okay.
At that, Nithrali's going to look at him, and she's going to make sure that she has eye contact with him, and she's going to wrap her tail around her waist and see if he can do the same. Nethral is going to look at him and be frustrated because he didn't acknowledge that she wrapped her tail around her waist, and she's going to ask, "Can you not wrap your tail around your waist? Is it not possible?" She's not going to be she's not going to be short with him or anything. She's going to say it as kindly as she possibly can, but and she's going to sigh, and she's going to look at the paladin to see if maybe he's got a cloak around his armor since he's nobility.
He
Does he?
has kind of a thin strip of like red kind of cloak, but it's just like a thin strip on like one shoulder. It's not enough cloak to be useful. It's just a little decorative piece of cloak-ish thing that doesn't even go to his waist.
Nethrali is going to very, very harshly bite her own lip because she's so frustrated right now. And she really doesn't want to put Zildath in any sort of danger. But she knows, absolutely knows in her bones that they have to go to this lab without question. And she's going to turn to him and she's going to say, "If Leanna and I go to her lab, just the two of us, can you stay with the rest of the party and protect them?" Nethrali is going to hold up her hands and sigh, and she's going to look at Zildath and say, "I am a sorcerer, and she is an artificer. As long as whoever killed her is not in her lab, we should be able to make it just the two of us. Liana, would you be okay going back to your lab to find this artifact with just me?"
So Leanna, throughout this, when you're showing the tail and everything, she kind of looks back at Zildath, sees the tail, raises a brow inquisitively. Obviously, she recognizes that it's unusual, and just kind of smiles and just kind of nods at you. And then throughout this conversation, just kind of following along. And when you ask her that, just say, if we need to. Although there is a very nice cloak and scarf shop along the way to the lab.
Those shops are
While
the
you guys,
best.
while you guys are busy having this prot discussion, Tokia has wandered around, talked to some of the local animals, and has picked up like stuff to start a fire. So she's a little bit off the trail and has started this little fire, and has like acquired some meat and has some rabbits stuck in on sticks, and is cooking food for everybody.
That's cute.
Nethrali just snorts at that.
I cannot believe he let bears kill me. It took 2 grown men to hold me down.
When you say that, Devlin kind of looks at you, kind of confused, and oh, yeah, yeah.
Nethral is going to notice that he was confused. And she's going to very gently move away from Leanna and approach him. And she's going to... I'm probably going to have to roll for investigation, which is annoying, but she's going to look at Devlin and she's going to ask, why were you hunting bears?
So that would actually be an insight check.
Insight, okay.
He'll, he doesn't quite meet your gaze. The farmers were complaining of bear problems, so we were sent out to investigate and take care of it.
Now keep in mind, Nathrali is only 5'5", so she's not tall.
Can I do a...
Did I pass that, Hess?
What was your number?
15.
So you can tell he's not saying something.
How tall is he?
He's I'd say about 6 foot, and it's not that he's lying; it's that he's deliberately
Hiding something.
not really.
So what
hiding,
Talthai
he's
was
deliberately
doing.
omitting.
Yeah.
He's omitting.
Okay. Nathrali is 100% going to use her persuasion skill at this, so I'm just going to roll now.
If you can't do it, Talthai can help you with that.
I got proficiency in persuasion. God fucking damn it. Every time. So she's going to very, very gently lay her hand on his cheek and completely invade his personal space and make eye contact with him. And her silver eyes, they're completely silver. They are going to look like storm clouds. And she is going to make sure that she has his full attention. And she is going to say, do not lie to me. How were you killed and why?
So he's just completely like almost hypnotized at the moment. He can't take his eyes off you. Just it blurts out, I tried to do it alone. I thought I could do it. That was the scariest damn bear I've ever seen. You didn't see that fucking thing. It almost starts like hyperventilating.
Nothral is going to put both hands on his face. And she's going to take her left hand and she's going to very gently start petting his hair. Stop. No one would have been able to kill a bear by themselves without much more experience than you obviously have. Why did you try to kill a bear by yourself?
Because the dishonor in not doing it would be unbearable.
Oh my!
You don't get to answer for him, Pixel!
He doesn't even notice that it was a pun. He just nods. Yeah, that's yeah. He nods in agreement with that statement, not realizing that.
The thrall is gonna sigh. Was there anything special about this bear?
it was scarred. It had been. I don't know what happened to, but it was terrifying.
Terrifying how? And Nithrali is just going to reach down and take his hand and start following Leanna.
Its height was almost like it had been sliced and healed in a dozen different places. It had been in fight after fight. It was scarred.
What color was the fur? Do you remember?
It was dark. I couldn't tell.
So it was nighttime when you tried to fight the bear?
He just nods. That's when it comes out. That's when the farmers said they spotted it. Always at night.
Would your brother or your father fight a bear alone? Hess, you're muted, honey, if you're talking.
He kind of he doesn't really say anything. He just kind of he sighs and is just thinking.
You cut out again.
He doesn't really say anything. He just kind of sighs and he just goes into thought.
Nithrali runs her tail from the base of his spine up to the back of his neck. Would they have fought the bear alone? And it's not like she's trying to tickle him or make him uncomfortable. It's a very soothing gesture.
I was getting succubus vibes.
I mean, she's a tiefling, so you're not far off.
With like a couple of sticks of questionable meat source and just kind of, what I miss?
Oh. Nethrali completely ignores Tokyo because she wants as much information as she can get out of Devlin.
He's completely enthralled at the moment. It says, my father, yes, he certainly would have. He'd like to tell us about all of his great victories in battle. And I have no brother.
But you said that your oath was inherited through the family. So is it just your father? There's no one else in your generation then?
My father and his father before him.
Ah. Nethrali is going to sigh. And she's going to continue to hold his hand and continue to follow Leanna. How many years of experience in combat does your father have, though, Devlin?
Well, he was trained almost from birth by his father. So, as long as he was able to hold a sword.
And how old is he?
He's just celebrated his say how old do humans live in?
150, I think. No, that's half elves.
180 for half elf.
180 for half elves? Okay.
That's what the book said.
No, dude, I believe you. I just, for some reason, I had 150 stuck in my head, and I don't know why.
Okay, so about less than a century, so about the same as real life.
Yeah.
He actually just celebrated his 52nd.
At that, Nethralia is just going to roll her eyes skyward and ask, "And how old are you?"
24.
Nethralia is going to sigh very heavily and lean up and kiss his cheek. And in the softest, most exasperated way she possibly can. And she's going to just shake her head and say, "You don't have his level of experience yet. Of course you're not going to be able to take a bear on by yourself. Do you even have the same magical skills as him?"
He's taught me some of what he knows.
But that's not what I asked, Devlin.
Of course, I cannot match his skill.
Then perhaps from now on you will understand your limitations. You do not need to compete with your father. You simply need to live your life and survive and protect those in your care. Do you understand what I'm saying?
He kind of takes a deep breath and nods. Yes, I think I do.
You
And can tell
think?
he's completely. You can tell he's really like reevaluating his life choices at this moment, because especially that nat 20. You've made this man question everything.
Good.
Zildath will speak up kind of gently because he knows there's serious conversation going on, but he will say, "Nathrali, we should go."
Nathrali is going to nod, and she's going to continue to hold Devlin's hand. And she's going to look at Leanna, and she's going to ask, "Would you please lead the way to the shop where we can get a cloak for Zildath?"
At this point, the rest of you are beginning to realize what Tokyo has already realized, that you're not going to make it to the city before nightfall. You're either going to have to travel through the night or make camp.
Nethrali is fine with traveling through the night. It doesn't
So-
bother her because she's used to it as a tiefling.
So is Zildath. And he's of the mindset that this artifact may or may not still be there in time of the Effens, so he doesn't want to risk
Yes.
camping.
And that's where Nethrali is at as well.
Tokyo doesn't care. She's got food. She can see in the dark. She,
Yeah,
there's
he's a blood hunter. The nighttime is his jam, yo. So he's like, "Let's
Actually,
go."
every single one of us has dark vision.
yeah.
Except
So I mean,
for Zildath.
Yeah.
Which is fine
And
because he
Devlin.
can see us.
And
Well,
Devlin and well,
Nethrali's got his hand. He'll be good.
Zildath also has torches.
Leanna does have dark vision though because she's half elf. I remembered I wrote that shit down. Nice try, Hesulan.
yeah. So Tokyo basically grabs Zelda's head and puts it on her shoulder as it is getting dark,
Also, I really have to pee. I'm sorry.
and goes and while she put his hand, she offers him like a small quarter of questionable animal, which is a rabbit, by the way. It was like, hungry?
Zildad looks slightly amused that she thinks he can't navigate in the dark by himself, but he doesn't say anything. But he does take the animal, and he's like, "Yes, actually, I am famished. Thank you." So he'll leave his hand there, and he'll start munching.
Dying will really take it out of you, it seems, apparently. I feel like I haven't eaten in a lifetime.
Talitha looks at Tolkia and says, "Oh, if you have more to spare, that'd be great. If you want, I can buy you a scarf in town in exchange."
Need scarves. But here, have some food. She offers, Talitha some questionable small animal meat.
She doesn't question it. She just starts chowing down.
It's just, miscellaneous quarters of animal. And she has enough for everybody because she's really good at what she does.
This is quite delicious. Are you a chef?
I'm a druid.
Fair enough.
When you don't live in cities, you tend to prefer simpler fare.
I understand this. I prefer to stay out of cities myself.
I always love open land, plains. That was always my favorite.
I would not have called that, Talitha.
Well, I grew up on a farm.
Did you?
Yes, it was a rice farm.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. It was great exercise. As soon as I was old enough to walk, my father had me out in the farm.
And yet you grew up to be a bard, not a farmer. How?
Well, my father, he wasn't official. He liked the idea of being a bard, and no disrespect to him, but he never really did anything with that pursuit. When I got old enough, I wanted to make us more money for the farm so we could get more crops without having to go an evening without food, so I picked up a violin and went and started playing in the tavern. And it just kind of stuck.
At that, Nithrali will say, "Violins make the most beautiful sounds."
It does. So do, I like them differently, but bagpipes, I think they're more powerful than a violin is in a different way. Like if you want to play a more forceful sound, a bagpipe I think is perfect.
At that, Nithrali will nod and say, if they're handled by a skilled individual, yes, bagpipes are slightly more powerful. But violins evoke a different kind of emotion.
Exactly. But we were even able to get a chicken coop after I started playing in taverns.
It sounded like you had a nice life.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Perhaps we will find out what happened and get you back to it.
She kind of didn't say much to that and just continued walking with everyone else.
Nithrali will turn to Devlin at that and ask, "Is your father still alive?"
Yes, he's currently on an expedition to a nearby kingdom.
For some reason, that unsettles Nithrali, and she'll look at him and say, "And he left you here?"
Of course, he left me to take care of affairs here at the temple and around the city in his stead.
Nithrali will tilt her head to the side and say, "Are you from the city then?"
Not originally, no, but we come here often.
So is this your city to protect then?
We do odd jobs everywhere we go. We go to the local temples and find problems plaguing the people of anywhere we go and see what we can do to help.
At that, she's going to get clearly irritated. And she's going to say, "What does that mean?"
Well, usually it means perhaps healing the sick, or perhaps dealing with wolves, or on rare occasions, bandits or highwaymen, and just whatever is needed.
And your father just leaves you?
I can take care of myself. And he kind of puffs his chest up a little bit, almost starting to forget, but then remembers the whole conversation and kind of rethinking his life, and unpuffs his chest a little.
It is good for his father to have done this.
Nithrali's going to look at Zildath and say, "No, it is not. Because his father clearly didn't understand his skill level, or he wouldn't have died."
My father didn't know I was going to fight the bear.
It doesn't matter if he knew whether or not you were going to fight the bear. He knew what you were capable of.
Devlin, he. A, not to call you a child, good sir, not at all. But the phrase still goes: a child should be held accountable. It's not always the fault of the parent.
He's not a child, but his father trained him, and his father bears responsibility for leaving him to die.
Was his father there? No.
Doesn't matter. His father knew what he was capable of.
We were all trained by either a mentor or a parent. They have their own lives to live, and once we are grown, we have our own responsibilities. He, unfortunately, made a mistake. Mistakes happen, whether deadly or not. They happen.
Nithrali's going to roll her eyes and say, "I was trained by no one."
You are smarter than most, then. As it stands, though, be it that he is at this human age of 24, he should have made a better choice. It was his hubris that got to him.
He is
Perhaps
very
that
aware
is
that he
something
made the
he
wrong
learned.
choice.
I would not blame his father for that, not his skill level, but I would blame his father for this arrogance that sits on his shoulders.
If his father had taught him the way he was properly supposed to, then Devlin would have known what his skill level was.
Sometimes you don't know what you're capable of until you're put in an impossible situation.
Ain't that the truth?
At that, Nithrali will nod and say that is fair.
Sometimes the only way a mentor can know what his student can do is by putting him at risk. And if the student survives, they are stronger for it. If they do not, he kind of just sighs. And now that it's getting darker, though, he's becoming more alert because the nighttime is usually when he hunts ghoulies and shit.
Nithrali's going to look at Devlin and she's going to ask him, "Is your father in the city now?"
No, he's on an expedition to a nearby kingdom.
Nithrali's going to sigh, and she's decided that Devlin is not leaving their party. Because she's not going to abandon him like she feels his father did.
Talthy kind of silently chuckles and casually takes the strip of bedroll Nathalia gave her earlier and sweeps her hair back, exposing her elf ears, and starts braiding up her hair. And while she's doing this, she looks at Zildrath and says, looks him up and down, looks at his tail and says, "Man, I don't care what anyone says, Scale Baby, you're gorgeous."
Nathrali's going to notice that she has elf ears as she pulls her hair back. And she's going to huff to herself. And she's going to say, "I apologize for calling you human."
Zildath is sputtering, and if a red dragon could blush, would be blushing. He, honest to God, does not know what to say right now.
Well, considering blood flushes in your cheeks, it would probably be a blue blush, but still a blush.
Yeah. So if his like, hang on, I gotta try to tell you exactly what is turning blue right now. Hang on, looking at my character picture. Yeah, that slight jawline underneath his eye, and probably the tip of his tail is now a different color.
Like a purple tint.
Yeah. He does not at all know what to say to that. So he kind of just takes him a second before he goes, "Thank you. I think. Thank you."
Tokyo just is amused as fuck. And she's just like, wow, this is going to be more interesting than I thought.
I have no idea what Bander's saying because all I hear is crackle, crackle, muffle, muffle.
Sorry, I'm cooking.
I love you. I have no idea what you said to me.
I heard what she said.
Okay.
She's basically Tokyo thinks that this is going to be more entertaining than she thought it was going to be.
Oh, okay.
Tathe gives Nathalia a big smile and just says, "That's fine. Most people think I'm human anyway."
But you're not, and I called you racist for calling me horny, and I apologize.
It's alright. If you'd called me a knife ear, I would have given you a fist bump.
At that, Nathalia will laugh. But she won't have anything else to say. She'll just laugh. Because in that moment, she realizes that Talthe embraces the racism and tries to reclaim it.
So yeah, they're just walking. Very determined party walk going on right now.
Miss Raleigh's gonna turn to Leanna and ask, "How much longer until we get to the shop?"
Well,
Are they actually in the city?
Yes.
no,
No, they're
we're
walking
Okay.
towards the city. I don't think they're
Or,
at the city.
yes,
nowhere near-
that.
You're still outside.
gonna at this pace. You think you'll arrive at the city about sunrise?
Excellent.
Around this time, Tokia and Tokia, you begin to sense something's off. Your spidey sensors are tingling. There's something out there. And Zildath, your if you had hair, it would be standing on end. You got a chill up your spine. Something's near.
Mm-hmm. He will. So at this point, he will kind of hold up his hand and tell the party to everyone stop. Something preys upon us.
Nathrali will stop, and she will make sure that Devlin stops with her.
So at this point, Zildash will take his hand off of Tokia's shoulder, and he will put it on the hilt of his sword. And he will look back towards Nathral, and he will ask her, "Can you make fire?"
Fuck.
I walked away with.
Oh, I don't think she can. Hold on. Hold on.
I walked away. What's happening?
Zildath asked Nathralia if she could make fire.
I know, but why?
Because they're in the dark.
Something's up.
Yeah, something's out there.
Oh, are we being attacked?
Not yet. No, we're getting the sense that something is out there. We don't know what yet.
Hold on. I don't think she can physically make fire, but I think she has torches.
Yeah, he does. That's why he's asking.
I'm just trying to see what's in the explorer's pack.
If you have an explorer's pack, you have a torch. I have it written down. There's 10 torches in there.
Okay, then yes, she has a torch. She's gonna like pull out a torch and light it immediately. In regards to his question. And she'll hand it to him because she doesn't need it since she has dark vision.
So at that, you start to hear.
She's also going to pull Devlin closer to her because she's actually really worried about him.
So you start to hear deep, low growling, sort of all around you because it's lightly wooded area, kind of tall grass, so you can't see too far out. And you're hearing deep guttural growls, and you see about half a dozen wolves start to poke their heads out and creeping towards you, flickering in the firelight.
Nathrali's belly button, like the ring on Nathrali's belly button, is going to start to glow with a white light, and she's going to start to prepare her witch bolt.
Zildath will kind of say loudly to everyone, "Backs to each other's. No one stands in front of me."
Nathrali is going to immediately push her back to Devlin's, but she's also going to drop his hand and grab Liana and push Liana towards Zildath.
Talitha slowly draws her bomb-ass katana.
Oh, and her tail will wrap around Devlin's waist to make sure that he stays close to her, unless he needs to move.
Liliana, you stay behind me no matter what. Behind me.
So, Liana is very much prepared for whatever's going to happen, but she looks scared. Devlin looks determined. He's sort of found his new family. He's going to protect you guys. Yeah, so he has a sword and shield. He's ready.
Nathrali is going to make...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Banner.
Banner's just gonna talk to all the fucking wolves. We're all like, yeah, Banner's gonna be like, yo, my peoples, what's up?
You're not fucking wrong. Since I have speak with animals, Toki just kind of strolls out in front of everybody and kind of growls at the alpha wolf.
You don't really see one that looks particularly like an alpha. You see a couple that look a little bit larger than the others, but they're all about.
Well, the ones in front of her, she kind of growls at and, raises her hackles and kind of hunches over and looks and does very wolf-like movements. And I would like to cast, speak to animals, since I have that as my spell. And BRB for 1 second.
Druids are fucking awesome.
You just gonna say speak to animals, then go AFK. Like, what the fuck?
Wow. Tokia is casting Speak to Animals. Nathrali is going to make eye contact with Liana, and she's going to use her persuasion. God fucking damn it. It's not going to do a damn thing.
Why are you using persuasion?
Because I wanted to give Liana a pep talk.
It seems slightly effective.
Yeah. She's gonna tell Leona it's okay. There are others of us present with you. You're not alone.
Kind of nods and draws the short sword that that was among her. It looks.
I'm back. What I missed?
It looks almost like a hand-me-down short sword. Like it hasn't like it's been used a lot by someone else.
No, baby.
I don't know why, but it makes me so happy that my little bard has a katana.
That's really quite cute. She just
I have a
waved her
quarterstaff, and I'm kind of pissed off about it because I don't want a quarterstaff.
A staff. So, like,
Do
what
you
I
want-
missed?
If you want something different, just let me know and I'll figure something.
I'll think of something, and I will get back to you, sir.
Because remember, if it's in the book, it's automatically allowed. But if you want something that's not in the book, just ask.
I do kind of want something that's not in the book. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
If you're not super busy tonight, we can discuss it after this.
But everyone needs to roll an initiative.
Oh, shit. How do I roll initiative?
So-
As I forget.
1d20?
Roll a d20 and add your initiative bonus, whatever that would be.
Where is
where
that
is
at
on-
on my
yeah, where-
character sheet?
Initiative bonus. Well, at your level, without any feats or anything, it'll just be your dexterity.
Dexterity. Okay.
There are other things that can affect it, but you don't have any. So
What is my
would
dexterity bonus?
I? Let me make sure.
I got it.
Do I have any?
5.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I got a
Yeah.
fucking nat 1.
Oh, damn, Bander, nice.
I got less than 1 because of my +2.
Hang on, I'm looking at the.
How?
Do I have
No,
an
you
initiative
didn't.
bonus?
it didn't actually roll, I don't think.
No, I don't think it did either.
Undo 20?
Yeah, I just realized that. Okay. 10.
That's what
I
happened
didn't
after I
reset
growled
that.
at the wolf.
Maybe I'm trying to talk to the wolf. This is awesome. Do I have?
Ow, hello.
I don't
Wow.
know anything about an initiative bonus. Okay, cool. So I'm just. What is it? What is it? What is the modifier?
Dexterity.
1d20 plus 1.
Dexterity. No, it's not +1 because it's a dex, whatever your dexterity modifier is. Because mine's +2.
Mine's +1.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 1d20 plus 1. Okay. Where is? Okay.
Wow, man. Chris over there with them pimp rolls.
About time. I was trying to
Damn,
fucking.
girl.
I mean, I'm literally trained in religion, and I needed to know some religion stuff, and my dice is like, LOL.
Shit, I got fucking Devlin mesmerized, sucking on my tit right now. Like,
All right. So what's everyone's
5.
initiative?
Looks
okay,
like
so
it's,
Crystal is first, Bander is second, I am third, and Hannah is last, unless you're including Leona and Devlin, in which case we don't know what their initiative is because you haven't rolled for them, BB.
I'm figuring out how this initiative thingy works because there's a thing that does initiative order.
Oh, that. I'm so sorry. I'm an asshole. I love you.
Okay, so yeah, so who's for Crystal is
I rolled an 18.
18.
Yeah.
And then Bander with a 17, if I can remember which ones.
Oh, which one's me either?
I think you're the you're
I have a
you're
staff.
the one. Yeah.
Purple cloak?
And then I think Purple Cloak is Bun.
No, green. No. Green with the staff
no.
is me.
So green with the staff is Bun, and then Purple Cloak is Purple Cloak is
Bander.
so
I believe Bander is standing next to me.
Yes.
Okay.
No, Bander is right next to me on the map.
Oh, yeah,
As
not-
we,
Uh,
Bander and
no,
I
that-
were walking side by side.
Yeah, that's true.
So let me get the initiative, and then I'll figure out where everyone is. So
I can actually tell you where everyone is.
Crystal, Bander, Bun, Pixel. Is that right? Yeah. Crystal, Bander, Bun, Pixel. And Pixel is the person that
Katana
looks like they
wielder.
have two swords.
Yeah.
Or actually,
Wielder.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah, the dual wielder is Pixel. The one with the sword is Leona, technically. And then the blonde one is Devlin.
Yeah. Devlin is the one with the shield.
Oh, okay. So then just swap me and Crystal. And then swap. Oh no, that's it. That's all you need to do is swap me and Crystal's.
Wait, which am I the one with the cape?
Yes.
Green one with the cape.
Then
Yeah.
it's right that no, I'm in the right position. Vander just needs to be next to me because
No, you're not in the right position because that's Leona behind you with, or no, that's Devlin behind you with the shield.
So but we were at the front of the party, so that's what I'm saying. My position is correct.
There's no front of the party.
Is that not? Are we not really?
Yeah, really. Because the wolves are surrounding us.
Okay. Well, then just move. Then move accordingly.
All right. So, and then Devlin is a 2 on the initiative order. And Leona is 12.
So Leona is actually before me.
And the wolves would be
Freaking, I don't want to kill the wolves.
Talk to them, Bander. Make them understand you.
okay. So, first is Zildath's turn. What are you?
Okay, so how?
And you can choose to hold your action if you wish.
Okay, so because Bander's character's name, which is just goddamn it, where is it? There we go. Tokia. Yeah, because Tokia, it looks like, is attempting to communicate. Then Zildath is going to hold until her turn, till after her turn. But if a wolf tries to attack, then he's gonna do some stuff.
Okay. So you're holding your action until after hers.
Correct.
Or after you see whether the wolves attack.
Correct.
Okay. So then it is Tokia's.
Yeah, speak with wolves. I want to talk to the wolves.
Okay, talk to the wolves.
Talk to the wolves. So I talk to the wolves and I tell them that, we're not aggressive and we're just passing through to get to the human lands, and I throw some rations and stuff at them, at the ones in front, because I had more tasty meats on me, because that's what I do. So yeah, please don't attack us and we won't kill you.
You see the one that you throw it at, kind of look down, sniff it a little bit, and look back up at you, look at like, you can tell it's thinking. And then they all at once freeze and turn to look, and you see off to one side a pair of glowing yellow eyes flickering in the torchlight. It doesn't look right. And then one by one, all the wolves turn and run.
What the fuck?
Oh, lovely.
Shit.
And Nethrali, you feel Devlin look over and just freeze.
Nethrali
Oh,
pulls
God.
him.
Yeah.
Nethrali pulls him that much closer with her tail, and she says under her breath so that absolutely only Devlin can hear, "What is it?" And she just waits for his response.
That's the thing.
What
And
thing?
he kind of nods toward the eyes. Bear.
Both of Nethrali's hands start to glow.
And you see this massive. You can tell why he thought it was a bear. This isn't a bear.
Oh boy.
It's a wolf, but it is the largest fucking wolf you've ever seen. It's the size of a bear. And just like Devlin described, it is covered in scars that should have killed it.
Oh boy.
Nethrali pulls Devlin closer with her tail, kisses the back of his head, and then turns to the wolf and just fucking hisses and completely embraces her tiefling heritage. Like, she's fucking snarling at this thing. Her hands are glowing with this bright blue light, and she just fucking waits because she knows when it's her turn for combat, she knows exactly what she's gonna do.
Take just swears under her breath, like, what the actual fuck is this? This ain't natural.
So this thing growls at you in a way that Tokia, you should definitely be able to understand what it's saying. You ain't getting shit from this thing. You can't understand what it's saying. It's like it's trying to speak to you through the growl, and it's not saying something nice.
Nethrali absolutely.
Fuck you say about my mother?
Nethrali's pissed off. She's absolutely growling back.
Zildeth is hearing all these growls and has turned and is looking at this thing. Yeah, and so now, well, I'll wait. I think actions. So okay, hang on. But yeah, he's ready.
Whose turn is it?
Whose turn is it?
Because I know Bander just cast.
Then it's
with its turn, this thing saunters on over towards you, but it doesn't quite get to you, and it is Leanna's turn.
I held my action. Do I get it
turns
now?
and sees this thing and is terrified.
No, you held it.
Yeah, actually, you held to see if the wolves attack. They did not. They ran. So it is actually now Zeldath's turn.
Excellent.
It's kind of like a brand new round.
Excellent. Okay, so if it is Zildath's turn, then and you have to tell me like how this all counts for, but he is going to cut his hand. And he is going to, so that will take me down from my hit points are 13. My temporary hit points will now be 12. And he is going to bleed onto his sword, enacting one of his blood rites. And the sword is going to begin to glow red like it is on fire.
Nice.
And he will take, I don't know how to move my little character, but I'm going to try to get right in front of this thing. Yeah, buddy.
I just realized my color is green. That's not right.
And this is big, like menacing, like hankles up, like about to rip somebody's head off type thing that's looking at me, right?
Yeah, this thing is actually, as you get up close to it,
Mm-hmm.
you feel a very familiar tingle up your neck.
Ooh.
It's a tingle that you've felt 1,000 times before,
Oh, it's an
and
undead.
it's not natural.
It's not. Oh, this is his hunting thing. So at this, yes, glorious, glorious. So since he is face to face with this fucking monstrosity, I am going to, because I wanted to do this and I get to do it. He's going to cast his dragon breath. So he is going to rear back. He is going to open his mouth and he is going to roar, and a stream of lightning is going to come out of his mouth instead of fire. It's another anomaly. He's a red dragon that breathes lightning. So lightning is going to pour out of his mouth into the face of this fucking thing.
Nice. So, does that roll? Is that a roll?
It's
to
a
hit,
so
or is
he's
that-
yeah, you're the this abomination has to do the DC for this saving throw equals 8 plus my constitution modifier plus my proficiency bonus. So you and then if you fail it on a failed save, I got to roll a 2d6 and you'll take so you take 2d6 damage on a failed save and half as much damage on a successful one. So, my constitution is 17, so 8 plus 7, yes, and my, actually, you have to roll a 28.
Little excited there.
Yeah.
I got really excited when SC was in a fight with Moon Reaper.
Yeah, because the DC for this saving throw equals 8 plus my constitution modifier plus my proficiency bonus, so, yeah, it's, 19, excuse me, 19.
Well, no, that would be your constitution modifier would be like plus well, what's your constitution?
My constitution is 17.
So
My
that'd be a +3.
Yeah, 8 plus my. I did that math wrong. So 8 plus my constitution. 8 plus my constitution modifier. So 8 plus 3 plus my proficiency bonus is 2. 8 plus 3 plus 2.
All right, I was gonna say eventually you'll be making me roll like
I would like you to roll a
23s and
28
stuff,
right now, Hess, because it made me happy.
well, it failed. So how much damage is?
I have to roll a 2d6.
And what type of damage is it?
It's lightning. It's lightning damage.
Okay.
Are you gonna get hit by that?
No, I don't. So if you guys were standing in front of me, it would be a bad day. But nobody's in front. That's why.
Nithrali is absolutely going to pull Devlin closer towards her with her tail, even though she knows that this isn't going to hit him. But she is actually scared for him right now.
Aw, that's so sweet. So a creature takes 2d6 damage on a failed save. So yes. So he takes 3 points of damage.
How many damage?
3. I rolled a 3. I rolled a 2d6.
Okay. All right. So he it seems rather unhappy about what just occurred.
I have poked it with lightning and it is mad.
All right. So next is Leanna, who let me pull up her character sheet.
My little artificer.
At the moment, she doesn't have much.
Oh,
way
baby.
of,
It's that level 1 life, yo.
Right? Dude, fucking everybody's characters open the fuck up at level 3 and it's nuts.
It's awesome. I get so much more fun stuff to play with.
Same. I'm still pissed off
I
that
do
Witch
too.
Bolt doesn't fucking show up on the sheet. I'm gonna type it in for you guys, so I'm gonna mute myself really.
So Leanna's gonna pull out her hand crossbow that she had, which also looks very it's not new by any means. It's very much a hand-me-down. And I should have written down the stats for these things. So
It's okay. I still love you.
10 out of 10. I mean, have you been in any of my games?
So she quickly she realizes she's not running up to this thing. She just drops her sword and grabs her hand crossbow already preloaded, just fires the shot right away, and it manages to pierce this thing, and the bolt sinks in, and this thing barely reacts. Like it almost didn't even notice.
Ooh, good to know.
Not terrifying at all.
Mm-mm.
And then it's whoever's turn is next.
It would be mine.
Okay, then.
And I am still typing in what Witch Bolt does because Witch Bolt is what I want to use. So I'm going to mute myself again so I can type this out really quick.
More part of my red dragon breathing lightning.
I mean,
You should
the
know that-
natural wolves are safe now. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
You should know that Talthay is probably going to write a poem about your breathing light.
He will be tickled to death. Like, you don't understand. No one has ever told him that he looks pretty before. Like, what is this?
Called you a gorgeous skill, maybe.
No, he does not. He does not even know what is happening in his life right now.
Even being in basic bitch level 1, I still love all my spells and cantrips.
Yeah, I can't wait to fucking use my fire sword now.
I cannot wait to actually, get the cool druid shit going.
Mm. Hey, Hess, just for with my future turn, how many feet away would you say the wolf is from me?
Like not very many.
Like about 30 feet, maybe?
It's where it is on the roll. And you are so which one are you? You're the one at the back of the group, so say about 15, 20 feet.
Okay. Good to know.
Right, so Witch Bolt, you make a ranged spell attack, so you would roll a d20 plus your spell attack, which I believe your attack bonus is 4, if I remember right.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot I had cantrips. Okay, then I'm gonna use my cantrip of Acid Splash on this asshole.
Alright. And it will roll against your 14 spell DC, or no, 12 spell DC, is that right?
Yeah, it's 12 spell DC.
And it just fails it, so...
Okay, so 1d6.
Roll a 6, roll a 6, roll a 6, roll a 6.
Shh. I'm trying. Why did it do it like that?
That's hilarious.
Because you
That
rolled it
doesn't-
1
1
divided by
slash
d6.
D6, yeah.
Roll
We ain't doing fractions up in here.
1d6.
There you go.
Okay, so it takes 4 damage, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then she's gonna do a witch bolt.
Is that a bonus action?
So acid splash is a cantrip,
Yeah.
and
Or
witch
it's an
bolt.
action?
Cantrip is not an action; it's a cantrip.
No, cantrip does
No,
count as an
it-
action.
It counts.
It takes an action, but it's a cantrip, so it doesn't cost a spell.
Yeah, and then I want to use witch bolt, which costs a spell.
But you
Well,
only have
it's-
one action.
Okay, well then can I not do the acid splash and do the witch bolt?
Yeah, I'll let you undo that since since you didn't realize that.
Because
yeah,
no, I 100% didn't realize that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you undo that.
Okay, so what do I? So then he rolls again for the witch bolt, I guess.
What's witch bolt? I think you rolled a hit, don't you?
Yeah, it's a 1d12 lightning damage, and then as long as she concentrates, it stacks.
But do you have to roll to hit with it? Or
A beam.
yeah, you make
It's a ranged
you
spell
make a
attack.
ranged.
Yeah, within
you
30
roll it-
feet. He's definitely within 30 feet of me.
Yeah, so you roll a d20 plus your spell attack bonus, which is 4. So d20 plus 4 to see if it.
Roll 1d20 plus 4. So 13.
I think a 13 just missed.
God damn it!
Goes over his
You,
head.
You try to fire out this bolt, and it just barely singes like a line across its back, but it doesn't quite hit.
At that, Nethrali is going to seize up a little bit, and she's going to pull Devlin closer to her.
Definitely
because
up
now-
her ass at this point. She just keeps pulling him closer.
I know, right?
Pretty
She
much.
is pregnant with him right now.
Uh-huh.
She's now scared. Nethrali is now scared.
Alright, which next would be who's next?
Hannah.
Let's see, I'm gonna cast True Strike, which means I gain insight into his defenses and I'll have advantage my next turn. So I think it says I roll the dice twice and take the better of that roll for whatever I'm doing.
You gain advantage on your next attack.
So that's what I'm gonna do. She points at the enemy and she glowy shit passes over to him and she casts True Strike. Yeah, I'm so creative.
Do you kind of do like the like you point your eyes in his eyes like I'm watching you?
You motherfucker.
In fact, that's exactly what she does. She does that thing and she says, "Come get it, bitch." That's exactly what she does.
All right. So seeing his new friends in trouble and feeling Nethrali tensing up and actually scared of this thing, Devlin gonna once again puff up his chest and sort of spin around to bring himself between Nethrali and the beast, going face to face with the thing that killed him.
Nethrali is going to very carefully place her hand on his back and very calmly say, "Don't be a hero, please."
Zildath is like, "Do you want to live forever?"
He'll turn to Drawley and say, "I've been given a second chance. I'm not letting this thing kill you, the rest of you." And with that, he prepares his shield and takes a stab straight at it. Which
Wants to live forever.
I hate you all!
Don't like that we can't see Hess's rolls.
Right? I don't either. He could put him in chat. He's just being a shit.
Well, that's DM life. You're not supposed to see all the rolls.
I'm actually rolling a bunch of stuff that you guys don't know I'm rolling.
No, 100%. I know you're actually physically rolling them. Like, I trust you, dude, without hesitation.
Also, remember, you guys do have 3 inspirations. So,
What do those do?
Like,
What do those do?
if you roll a d20 and you really don't think it's going to be good, like if you roll a d20 you get a nat 1 or something and you just really want to re-roll it, then before you give me a final answer, like for the number, you can choose to spend an inspiration to re-roll the d20.
Got it.
Can we use it for another character?
No, you can only use it for yourself.
Fuck!
But it does count for any d20 roll, even if you already have advantage or whatever. Just any one d20 that you roll, you can re-roll with an inspiration.
Oh, if I had fucking remembered, I could have done that from my witch bolt.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get
No,
over
it's not. Evelyn might die.
He's not gonna die. It's gonna be okay. He's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. It's gonna be okay.
I just want to get this druid up to level 20. That's it.
I want to get to level 3.
Yeah.
Right? I just want Devlin to live.
I just want some high-level druid shit.
Nethrali's never had a human that cared, so, like, this is a big deal to her.
So, you see him jab his sword in, and it goes about halfway in, and it doesn't even phase this creature, but then it goes in a bit deeper, and you see the creature sort of twinge, like it hit something. That hurt more than the creature expected it to hurt. And then he rips the sword back out and prepares his shield.
Yes.
And it is back to the top of the initiative order.
Crystal, you up?
Oh, I get to go again. The thing hasn't taken a turn yet? When does this thing get a turn?
No.
Whatever. Okay, fine. I get to
Oh,
go.
wait. Yeah,
Don't question it, son.
I'm not questioning
I'm not
it.
questioning it. I'm
not
saying it.
I'm
Took its turn
keeping
after
track. I didn't mess up there. I'm keeping track.
No,
No.
it's good. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hess knows what he's doing.
He goes in 3rd.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking
Goes right after Bander.
Awesome.
I'm not scared. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
You're
and I also screwed up, but I'm just looking at my sheet. I have a warhammer, not a sword, but it's a versatile weapon. So anyway, I'm standing there with my glowing fucking fiery war sword because I've casted my Rite of Flame on my weapon. And since it's a versatile weapon, Zildath is going to put 2 hands on it and use it as a 2-handed weapon. And he is going to take a mighty fucking swing at this thing, aiming for its... I mean, I don't know how tall it is, but Zildath is pretty fucking tall. But anyway, I'm going for the fucking head, yo. So he is trying to fucking bash this thing across the face with his warhammer that is glowing red. So I will roll the d20 to see if I do d20 to see if I hit, right?
Yeah, d20 plus your whatever modifier.
Okay, what? 1d20 plus what modifier? What are we looking at?
So it's, what is a longsword?
It's a warhammer.
Warhammer?
Yes. I do have a proficiency bonus with this.
So it's d20 plus proficiency plus strength.
Okay. Okay, so let me see here. My strength is +3. And then so I would roll a d20 plus 5. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Come on, hit. Yeah, bitch.
Ooh!
Yeah, okay, so this is all okay.
Soft 20.
Yeah, this is awesome because so first I get the damage for just the hammer. So I roll a 1d10 for damage for the hammer. And then because I casted Blood Right damage is magical fire. Roll a 1d4 fire roll on successful attacks with the weapon.
Dang.
So it
Mm,
takes. So
yeah.
I will take that. 6 plus 3 is 9. I'm pretty sure. So with a mighty dragon roar, fucking Blood Hunter cracks this thing across the face.
So, where's what's the name of the ability thing?
It's
for the...
called Blood Hunter. I can send you the picture. I send it to you, Hess. Oh my god, Hess, I sent you my character sheet. I
Don't
did.
be mean.
I'm not. I'm totally trolling. Hang on, I have too many.
I'm just trying to figure out. So, the weapon damage itself, is it affected in any way, or is it just additional damage added?
It's additional damage added, and I will show you. Hang on. I saved this section. I took little screenshots of everything apparently, but that motherfucker. Here is my blood class PDF. God damn it, my files are too powerful. God damn it, hang on. Wait, I'll take a screenshot for you.
Because in case you guys didn't figure it out, it does have particular like resistances and weaknesses.
Yeah, no, that's hang on. I gotta.
So that's why I've been asking, like, what kind.
It's magical fire damage.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was how much weapon damage, how much fire
So
damage?
it was 6 damage with a warhammer, whatever that classifies, and 3 magical fire damage. Because I have the right of fire. So long as I keep the weapon in my hand. And that's what took me down. That's because that's what happens when I bleed on it. That's why I have 1 less HP now.
Was that the end of your turn?
Yes, that is the end of my turn, and that is the ability.
Ah, cool.
Okay.
So then next it would be
Does it look hurt? Can I get it? Can I get does the thing look hurt?
Yeah.
Is it on fire? Does it have singed fur? I have questions.
Did it groan in pain?
it looks, I mean, it's hard to say it looks unhappy, but it kind of looks unhappy. And it definitely that was effective.
Okay.
What you...
I'll take it.
Also, by the way,
so vague.
that the imbuing thing is a bonus action, which is, I think, what Bun, what you were thinking of, where like you were thinking you could cast a cantrip and a thing. You can do a bonus action and an action in the same round. But it has to be a bonus.
God damn it.
Which there are bonus action cantrips, but
I know, I thought that's what they were. That's why I think so.
But anyway, it is Tokyo's turn, I believe.
Okay, so there's what? How many actions are per turn?
One action per turn and 1 bonus action.
You get
Alright.
movement, bonus action.
Yep, in any order.
Yep.
Okay, so where the fuck am I in this?
Right
You
now.
are the purple thingy.
Okay, so I can't really do that without spraying the people in front of me. So shit.
You could
I-
move around and do it and move back. You can break up your movement into multiple.
All right, so what I kind of want to do is to try and move to the side and maybe flank, or see if I can get.
There are no
Kinda.
flanking bonuses in 5e.
Yeah.
That's not the point. I just want to not be.
Okay, you want to not hit them.
Yeah. I just want to not hit the people in front of me.
That's fair. You could move like over there.
Yeah, that works. So I've moved, and now I have a I would like. Well, I don't think that's really gonna do much to it. So, you know what? Yellow. I have a cantrip for poison spray.
It is an action or a bonus action?
Uh,
I believe that's an action.
yeah.
I think so too.
So, which you can do that.
So
Doing
I
it.
would like to poison spray him in the face eye area if I can, for obvious reasons.
All right. So it must make a con saving. It makes the saving throw.
Fuck.
So you see this thing. You do this poison spray. This sort of noxious, just toxic, nasty shit coming out of your hand, and this thing just blinks at you.
Well, shit. I'm gonna die.
Can Vander? Can you move? Can she
You
move
wanna
back
move
to where
back?
she was?
Yeah,
No.
you have enough movement. You can move back if you want.
But the wolf gets an attack of opportunity because it's a disengagement.
No, I'm assuming that you'd stay out of 5 feet.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, about to say, Bun. Fuck.
I'm trying to give you guys the benefit of the doubt because
I'm trying to
I've
get me
played
killed.
games before
I'm
where
not. I just want to be fair. I love you.
yeah, that is a thing though. If you go within 5 feet of an enemy, then try to get out of 5 feet, then it gets to attack you for free.
No, poison spray is a 10-foot range.
Yeah, and I was assuming that you'd stay out of.
Yeah, health
the-
says I stay, with it at the max range to shoot poison at this thing.
Whatever it is, it doesn't seem to care much about life.
Okay, so I kind of stay where I am and prepare to get whacked.
You're good. Gotta get
Well,
through the big
there's-
dragon first.
There's big tough people in front of you. So,
That's right.
which
Until
it is now the beast's turn.
Yeah, I was about to say until it hits me for all 12 of my HP, and then and then Zildath will meet his karma for laughing at the paladin.
I have healing word. It's fine.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I also have mend and healing word. So
Yeah.
We're good.
And I dropped my dice.
No.
shame.
So this thing just it kind of glares at Devlin for a moment, but then turns its attention toward the big ass dragonborn with a hammer that just whacked it and singed it a bit, and it's really unhappy, and it's gonna try to take a chunk out of you.
Ooh, buddy.
So I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying the fact that we're all facing away from the giant demon wolf. It's like, whatever, bite my juicy ass.
If we had actual control over our characters, we could.
My AC is 15, Hess.
Yeah, so it this thing just absolutely chomps down. It's like a bear trap on you. It gets a hold of your arm with its jaws, and you're gonna take 8 points of damage.
Damn.
And
Oh,
you need to make a DC 13
No.
strength saving throw
So this is
as
a
the
my.
thing tries to wrestle you to the ground.
Ooh. Okay, it's a DC. Okay, a DC
13.
13. I want to roll a 13. Why won't you? The advanced dice roller won't let me roll a 13. Rude. So what is it? So what's the command? Slash roll what?
It's slash roll. D20 plus whatever your saving throw for strength.
D20. And then my strength saving throw will be a 5 because it'll be my bonus plus my proficiency bonus, correct? Since I'm trained in.
If you have proficiency in strength saving throws.
Yes, I
yeah.
do. Okay, so just roll. Also, it's just a D. It's a D20 plus 5. I thought it was a D13.
Yeah, just no D20 plus 5.
Okay.
And you're trying to beat a 13.
I'm trying to beat a 13. Okay.
I probably shouldn't have told you that, but yeah.
Woo!
Jesus.
Good job. Good job.
So this thing is trying to drag you down to the ground so it can just really go in at you, but you manage to hold it off, and it finally lets you go and just kind of growls, and you've taken a pretty nasty bite.
Yeah. I would say so. Zildath is kind of like fucking straining, digging his heels into the ground. There's probably like an indentation in the ground versus this wrestling match. But when it lets go, he's going to drop to one knee and is now holding his weapon with one hand because he has 4 hit points. And he is bleeding like a motherfucker.
I mean, that's all his magic.
Yeah, he mad though. He big mad. That sword is glowing real bright because he's bleeding on it.
So with that, it's Leanna's turn, who's gonna reload and take another shot.
Because Bander is supposed to be in front or behind Crystal. It's supposed to be Crystal, Bander,
Oh,
Leanna.
wait, no, that was its turn.
Yeah, it was. That was yeah.
Okay.
that-
Then Leanna.
So Leon's gonna try to take a shot at it, which I think is gonna go wide. Yeah, this bolt kind of grazes across one of the scars, and it just goes flying off, and it didn't do much.
At that, Nethrali is going to look at Leanna and say, "We have to do better." And she's just going to go back to being pretty scared.
It's good pep talk, coach. It's
Yeah.
Good job.
good pep talk.
So next would be
Me?
Bander. Is that,
Me?
or no, not Bander.
It's
sorry.
me.
Yeah. Buff.
Fun.
Two things.
Nethrali's hands are gonna glow blue again, and she's gonna try to cast another witch bolt. It's 1d20 plus her thingy-madoo. So we're gonna try. God damn it!
You do have your
Yep, she's
inspiration.
gonna use her inspiration, which is I don't remember how to do that.
You just get to if you rolled a d20 and you want to re-roll it, spend an inspiration.
So now
Yep.
instead of having 3 inspiration points, you have 2. Just make a note.
That's
And
fine.
you can re-roll the same one.
Okay, no. I'm using another inspiration then.
Yeah, you can use as many as you want on a single roll.
There we
Yep,
go.
that works. I got
Yep, that'll.
one inspiration left. Let's see. And for the witch bolt, I do a 1d12 damage.
I can't wait to do the thing.
Yeah.
So she does 7 damage.
Okay.
And at that, like, she's trembling, but she's got one hand on Devlin's back and her tail is still wrapped around his waist. She is terrified. She especially does not want him or Leona to die.
Again.
Exactly. Again.
Okay. So
And she has nothing to heal Zeldef with. So
Oh, don't
she's
worry about that.
like, it's
Don't worry, he'll be fine.
look
He'll be
here,
fine.
I don't need you to be doing the meta playing. No, she's just nervous because Zeldef is the only one that understands what it's like to be non-human and really get shit on for it. Because being
With
a
the half drow.
being half elf doesn't get you quite the same thing that being a tiefling or a dragonborn does, though. You can hide your ears. We can't
Well,
hide who we are.
Also, normal elf, maybe. Remember, Tokia is half drow.
It's still being a dragonborn or a tiefling is a lot harder to hide than being an elf is.
Whose turn?
So, Pixel's turn.
Mm-hmm.
She sounds so shady.
I really didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt because, like, I'm loving the conversation, but it's like I know that Crystal kind of needs to.
Oh yeah, shit.
No,
didn't
we're
look
fine.
at the
We're
time,
fine. No
sorry.
worries. I'm in it. I'm not going to bed till this thing dies or I die. Let's go.
Somebody's dying tonight.
That's right. I'm like, Spawn, we will fight and die.
With your shield or on it.
That's right.
So I'm going to cast Healing Word, which is 1d4 plus my spell cast ability, whatchamacallit. And while she is doing that, she's going to call over to, what's his name? Help.
Zelda.
What's his name? Zeldath.
Okay.
As she's casting it, she's going to yell, "Don't strain yourself, Scale Baby, get up."
Oh my god.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice. Yes. This
So she
fucking
casts it,
bard.
it's like a violent web of like bright purple light just seeps right into your skin.
Oh, that's sexy. I just got my 8 points back. Yes. Oh my god.
All while she's flourishing her sword.
Oh my god. So like fucking Zildath like on the ground wheezing, blood like gushing out of this fucking hole this dude put in his arm. Then you cast this light and now all of a sudden it's just like, oh. So he like looks up at this thing and he gets up like fucking Leonidas, man.
Yes!
And now he's twirling that fucking warhammer like, you know, fucked up today. And next roll I roll a 1.
Oh god. Don't roll it that one. Please don't roll it that one.
I have 3 inspiration points. I will use them.
I have 1 left.
Zildath. When Zildath, oh yeah, he was Zildath. You're gonna get a hug after the fight. We fighting right now, but later.
Oh,
I don't know whose turn it is.
So after Pixel, it would be Devlin's turn, at which he sees what just went down, and starts just it just loudly shouts at the thing, so just trying to get its attention. Just kind of shouts at it aggressively, and then just swings a sword at it wildly, just really trying to get its attention away from his less well fortified friends.
Oh,
At
God.
that, Nethrali is going to scream, "Pay attention! Use your skills!"
She's like coach in the background.
She's just really upset right now, and she's not gonna let him go into a berserker mode. She wants him to focus and fucking kill this thing.
So he manages to hit it right in the eyeball.
Ooh.
Nice.
And it is it doesn't seem to do much damage. It just kind of flinches, but when it realizes it's just been poked in the eye, it's mad. And
Does
that
it lose the eye?
Devlin, oh, the eye is actually like pierced. The eye is just
Ugh.
that
Okay.
eye is unusable.
So that's a good thing then, because now it can't see that out of that eye, in
Mhm.
theory.
Yeah, it's not happy, and Devlin raises his shield ready for it to attack him, hopefully, and not his squishy. Which brings us back to the top of the initiative.
So, question, Hess, can I, so like looking at this thing, and after like kind of all the varied damage it has taken, can I like roll for insight to see if I can like ascertain its weakness or like a soft spot to hit it?
Yeah, go ahead and roll an in.
Excellent. So it's going to be a 1d10 plus my 3.
I really feel like I dropped the ball when I didn't pick perception as a skill.
Yeah,
I really
no,
do.
right? I couldn't. I didn't know that. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Fuck, why didn't I pay perception as a skill?
I don't think I could, or
I rolled an 8.
Is that the final number you want to go with?
I rolled, well, it's out of a 1d10, so yeah. Was I supposed to roll a 1d20?
For skill checks, it's always a D.
For skill checks, it's always a d20?
Yeah.
Okay, hang
Skill,
on.
any kind of skill check is always a D20.
Okay, let me try this. Hang on.
Pretty much the only time a non D20 is used is for damage.
Got it. I rolled a 12. I will use 1 insight point, and I will take the higher roll. Okay, great.
good job.
Yeah.
So with a 15, you're realizing that physical attacks seem it's not that they're completely ineffective, it's just it doesn't do nearly as much as but you've definitely noticed it's reacted more to any kind of magical or just non-physical effect.
Okay, got you. So it's okay. More of a okay. So he will. Did that didn't count as my action, did it?
I'd say bonus action for that.
Counted as a bonus action.
So you still get an.
What's that?
So you still get an action.
Okay, that's fine. So then he will. So after kind of studying this thing and learning that, he will shout back to everyone that magical damn it hurts it the most. And so he'll put both hands back on the warhammer, and he will aim for the damage die and try to smack that eyeball right at its fucking head.
All right, roll, see if you hit.
+5 on that. I forgot to do the 5.
That will hit.
Awesome. It's gonna be a D10 for damage. Woohoo! 2 damage. And then if I've used up my bonus action, then the Rite of Flame, for whatever reason, the fire just doesn't hit this time.
So what about the Rite of Fire?
If you said that I've used up my bonus action, then the Rite of Flame counts as the bonus action.
I thought that was
But
only
doesn't
when you
it
apply
last?
What's that?
Yeah, it lasts for
I
8
think that's
hours.
only one.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a bonus action to apply it, but once it's applied, it's just
glorious,
applied.
glorious. Okay, so hang on. Fire damage. Incoming. Awesome. 1 fire damage.
All right. So then next would be. Are you there, Bender?
Hmm. I'm trying to think because I'm lame.
Okay.
So
Casters, use your magic.
I just did.
which
I
means
love her.
I'm lame. So I don't actually know what I can't. I guess I drop my staff and pull out my scimitar.
You gonna stab it?
Well, I mean, I don't really have any magic except for the poison, which just made it blink.
Didn't you miss with the poison though?
No.
Oh.
Fuck no, I didn't miss you, bitch.
Sorry, I thought you missed the poison throw. I'm sorry.
I get fucked, I didn't miss shit. Sorry. I'll just shut up now.
At least I don't think I missed. Did I miss?
It succeeded on its saving throw.
Yeah, I was about to say you missed the poison. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
that it wasn't
no.
effective. It just didn't hit it.
You can
No,
totally
I
try
hit
again.
it. It's just his mojo was stronger than my my poison gas.
Has reached the ceiling. Fuck.
What?
The spider has reached the ceiling. It was crawling up my wall. I need to go get the vacuum. Fuck. I'm sorry. Back to the combat.
Distraction complete.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm lame right now. So,
I'm drunk.
yeah, I guess swing around and whack it with my scimitar, because
Thank you.
Because the spells I got is speaking with animals and healing word.
Fair.
Well, you healed the dragonborn, so that's all I care about.
I didn't heal him. That was Pixel.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind.
You could always try the poison thing again, see if with its eye all messed up like this, maybe it'll seep in.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Fucked up its eye.
Okay.
That's right. There you go. So throw the poison
Alright.
where its eye is fucked up.
Okay,
So I lean out to the side again and shoot poison out of my hand. And do
Alright,
poison
and
spray.
that is a con saving throw. I know it's some kind of saving throw.
Or take 1d12 poison damage.
Roll damage.
Woo! Yeah! Nice! Poison the fuck out of it. Yeah! Get fucked, dragon!
Hail the druid.
Demon wolf.
Damn it.
I don't wish it was a dragon. We're too little for dragons.
So you managed to get a nice big blast straight in the eye socket.
Right up his
And
ass.
it flinches in pain at that, and you can see this toxic, poisonous substance eating away at the eye, and it's not happy.
It's not happy.
No.
All right, woo!
In fact, this thing, you'd think this thing should be dead. It should have been dead about half the fight ago. But this thing should be dead. It looks like it's just hanging on.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is this unholy crime against nature?
Your mother.
Hey,
It is undead and it should be put down.
Whose turn is next?
my mother was a very respectable wolf, thank you.
Liana's. It's Liana's turn. Oh no, it's the wolf's
Oh,
turn.
It's actually the wolf's turn,
Yep.
which is not very happy with any of you. But Devlin is being successful in getting its attention away from the rest of you.
Oh no,
It
Devin.
goes in for a chomp, and Devlin manages to swipe his shield straight in his face, and it just bonks right off the shield.
Woo! Yeah! That pep talk game.
And it just kind of stares at him like, bitch, you what? And
I
then
love
Devlin's
that.
just like,
Bitch, you what?
That's
like if this wolf could speak, it would be like, bitch, what? Did what?
That's the only
bitch,
descriptors anyone
lasagna.
should use for monsters. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
bitch, you what?
Lasagna.
I'll say that again.
I said, hello, bitch, lasagna.
So with that, Leanna loads up another shot and, determined to just absolutely take this thing down, fires it straight in the eye that's already been pretty well fucked up by like 5 different ways. And this thing, this bolt buries itself straight deep down. It goes into the brain of this creature,
Yes.
and you see it go limp on the floor. And
Yes. Fucking
It
dead.
is now Bander's turn.
No, it's my turn.
Or Bun's turn. Sorry, I
It's the
keep
other bee.
And
No,
Bun, in all of her infinite wisdom, is just gonna focus on that motherfucking witch bolt that she's currently got going, and she's gonna roll a 1d12 for damage. Cause that shit stacks as long as she's concentrating. And I forgot to type it in the right box. God damn it. Fucking free.
Literally
Really.
how I felt about my damage roll.
Don't you have another one of those inspiration you do?
I sure do, and she's gonna fucking use it. What the fuck?
The inspirations are only for the D20 rolls.
Oh,
So that's only
Well.
like skill checks and to hit and stuff like that.
well, whatever.
Sad face.
She hit for 3.
Although the thing is already at this point it's already down.
But
It
it's
looks
dead
very
though.
dead.
No.
Well,
It's down, but
wanna
that don't mean
find
it's
out?
dead. Yes, I
Yeah.
would like to.
I'd like to cut its fucking head off. Is what I'd like to do.
Yeah, we need some double tap action.
She'd
I
like
would-
to fucking electrocute the shit out of it.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
on my turn, I would really like to attempt to chop its head off.
Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, as you were saying,
Mhm.
is
so
it dead?
whose turn is it after Bun?
Hannah's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Hannah's.
correct.
I am gonna try and do something. Where the fuck was it?
Get it, you bard. You awesome, awesome bard.
Are you gonna make it into a pun?
Vicious mockery.
Where the hell is it? I had something. Oh my god.
Fuck.
That moment you accidentally close a window that you wanted. Because you scrub. Okay. Okay, here we go. I am going to cast Vicious Mockery.
Yes.
It's my what is this? This is my cantrip, yeah. So it has to do a saving throw against my wisdom. Succeed its wisdom saving throw.
You're fucking right, it's vicious mockery.
This is also like the bard watches this evil thing collapse and then just starts mocking it.
And let's see, my wisdom modifier.
How much damage would it take?
1d4 psychic damage.
Alright, so roll a 1d4 and tell me how much.
Yeah.
If theoretically it would
Okay.
still be.
When I cast Vicious Mockery, she's gonna say, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which is what you look like, a beholder.
That's just fucking rude.
So at that, you actually see it almost wince, and then it opens its remaining eye and looks like it's about to get back up. At which point, and I already rolled this for dramatic effect, Devlin spins the sword, or turns the sword the other way in his hand and drives it straight down through this thing's skull and just
Yes.
pins it to the ground. And its eye stays open, but you see the life once again drain from it.
Ooh.
And it's now Zildath's turn again, but it very much looks like it's actually dead this time, hopefully, question mark.
So Zildath will look at Devlin and he will say, you have done well taking your revenge on that which murdered you. And then he's gonna try to chop this thing's fucking head off.
Alright. Make an attack roll with advantage. So roll the d20 twice and take the higher one.
Got it. 1,
Because it is currently prone, so
2.
you get advantage.
So 18.
That definitely hit.
Yeah.
Chopping off the minces.
Yeah, so with his fucking giant fucking warhammer, he's just going to fucking like on this thing's neck like viciously with the fire coming out like over and over and over again until it is severed from its body.
Yeah, it
So you
takes
chop
a
its
few
head off with a
strikes,
hammer?
but
Yeah, it's awesome.
Impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
It takes a few strikes, but you absolutely like pulverize the spine of this thing, and the head's pretty much off for all intents and purposes. It's like hanging by whatever meat is left on it.
Oh, it's nasty. It's awesome.
Devlin like finally pulls out his sword once everyone's pretty sure it's dead, and initiative is over.
Woo!
This
Survived
thing
our
is
first
actually
combat.
dead.
So, Zildath is going to look at Devlin with a newfound level of respect now and kind of give him a nod. And then he's going to go over to the bard, and he is going to get on one knee in front of her, like very like respectfully, and he is going to look up at her and say, "Thank you." You are muted. There you go.
Okay. She's going to sheath her unused sword. She's gonna grab both of his arms and I know it's gonna be funny. Give the impression of lifting him up, this giant dragonborn. And she says, "Don't bow to me. You did great."
I'd be bleeding out on the ground if not for you. So thank you. Thank all of you. You did well.
That thing was an abomination against nature. Who would create such hellishness?
That is a very good question.
And as damn, I'm forgetting the names of my own NPCs. As Leanna walks over to it, is kind of looking at it, she kind of calls over, hey, look at this, and points to something farther back on, like along it on the side that you didn't really get a good look at.
We shall go to investigate. I have investigation.
Always gonna be like holding the very tip of her tail and kind of wringing it in her hands, but she's gonna be looking at Devlin, and it's her eyes are gonna be filled with like a glint of pride. Like she was genuinely scared that he wouldn't make it through the fight. But she's not
Devlin
gonna say anything to anybody.
Devlin is currently, you can tell he's on an adrenaline high at the moment. It is. So as Zilda, roll a investigation.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to?
Yeah, actually, anyone who wants to go over and investigate the
What is
Leon.
investigation?
It's a skill.
It's
I
its
have it.
own throw. It's its own. It's its
What-
own.
I don't have it, then I can't go investigate.
It's boosted
Oh,
by
you-
intelligence, so whatever your intelligence modifier is.
You can do things you don't have the skills for. It's just, you probably won't do as well.
Yeah, you get a boost with your modifier if it's. Oh yeah,
It's a 1d10, right? Oh, it's a 1d20. Goddamn, I always forget.
20.
Dun, dun, dun. There we go. I got a 17.
Nice. So, is anyone else rolling before I?
I
think
rolled
we
a
all did.
13.
Roll a 2.
So, Bander, you can clearly see the scars on the back. Those aren't fight scars. Those aren't natural scars. Those were carved there. And Zildath, you recognize those symbols. Well, you don't really recognize them, but they're similar to the ones that were on the drawing.
Oh. So he's kind of gonna squat down, and he's kind of like got both hands over the kind of the handle of his warhammer, and he's studying them. And then he looks back at the group and he says, "Whatever brought that artifact to Lillian, Leia, whatever the fuck her name is,
Liana.
Liana, whoever brought that artifact to Liana, also made this thing. The symbols are here."
Does Nathrali notice anything different because her score is a little higher than Zaldath's or Zildoth's?
Did you roll an investigation on the
Yes, I got an 18.
18? You would see. You also recognize it as those are some of the symbols, or at least similar to the symbols on the picture that she drew. You don't really get much more than that, although seeing it in person, it sort of resonates somewhere with it feels wrong. Like seeing it in person somehow it has more of a subconscious effect than seeing a drawing of it. You can feel the wrongness of it.
Okay. So Nethrala is not going to add anything more. She's just going to know it feels wrong, much like the drawing of the artifact was.
So Tokia takes this moment after, it's been decapitated and whatnot to place her hand on its shoulder and say quietly, "You can rest now, brother. Your work is over." Because it's still it was still a wolf.
Zildath will look up at Tokia and ask, "Would you like to burn or bury it?"
Nethrali will hold her dagger out by the handle to Tokia in case she needs it.
Nodding quietly, Tokia looks over at Zildath and is like, "We should burn him so nobody can misuse him again."
Then we will burn it.
Nethrali will put her dagger back in its sheath at her waist.
Takia will walk past her and just kind of put her hand on her shoulder and thanks and squeeze her shoulder a little and then go off to go find wood.
I shall assist you.
Nethrali will nod and she'll go look for wood as well.
His warhammer is still glowing, and he will he's gonna stand there and keep watch while they're doing that. In case this thing turns fucking Walking Dead zombie shit and tries to get up, fucking no head.
Fair.
You never fucking know.
In case anyone's curious, the ability that kept bringing it back is called Undead Fortitude. Anytime you dealt damage to kill it, it made a con saving throw of 5 plus the amount of damage.
Okay.
And it kept making it save, and it kept coming back.
Oh, that's nice. Zildath would be like used to fighting shit like that just won't fucking die.
Yeah.
He tracks the undead. That's awesome.
Nethrali is gonna come back with a stack of just random twigs and pine cones and stuff, and she's gonna like lay it next to the body of the wolf, and she's going to approach Devlin, and she's going to very gently place her hand on his chest and say, "You did well." And that's all she's gonna say.
Zildath has reached into his pouch and he has lit a torch, so he is just waiting for the rest of the wood. He still has the warhammer in one hand, it's glowing red.
Talitha didn't find much kindling that she thought would be good, but she did come back with kind of a large flat stone that she liked, thought she could use it for a headstone.
Aww, that's
So she goes over to Tokia and he says, "Here, this looks nice for him."
So Tokia comes back with like half a tree. It was a dead tree, so it wasn't as heavy as you would think. But she comes back dragging like a half tree. Accepts the headstone with a quiet thank you. And proceeds to build a kind of ramshackly funeral pyre next to the monster, the wolf. Who then, with his headless body, she kind of picks up and rolls onto the pile of firewood.
Zildath will hand her the torch.
And she stands there for a minute. And then she just kind of says something softly in Druidic and throws the torch on there and walks away.
Thank you. Talitha reaches into her pocket and gets out her little ocarina, and she softly starts playing a little tune for the wolf.
That's so sweet. We murdered the
Any
shit out of it
that-
and then we mourned it.
Any of you that look up at the smoke rising from the funeral pyre, at some point you might see what almost looks like a somewhat familiar shadowy figure in a big drooping robe
Oh my
kind of
god, really?
nodding at you in approval.
I don't know, like, I still gotta look up deities, but Zildath will make some kind of religious gesture with his hand when he sees this and say a quiet prayer. And then he will, like, you know, very casually hoist his glowing fucking bloody warhammer over his shoulder and continue on.
My
Yeah, Tokia doesn't see it because she just walks off into the darkness. She's done.
Your Tally didn't see either. She wasn't paying at all any kind of attention.
Nathrali sees it, and she sighs very heavily to herself, and she bows her head, and she says a prayer of thanks to death.
Yes.
And before Devlin can walk away, she grabs his wrist and looks at him and says, "Pay thanks," and goes back
Thank
to her
you.
prayer. Wait, what?
It says, no, thank you.
She's going to sigh and say, I didn't do anything.
Didn't you?
No. They were your own abilities. But we should pay thanks to the Lord of the Dead.
Secret lovers.
Just that tension, though.
She's worried. So this is introspective, like completely out of character, but she's genuinely worried that if he doesn't pay thanks to death, that it could come back to haunt him because this thing has already killed him once.
Mm. So he'll nod at that and look back at the pyre and kind of close his eyes and bow his head for a moment and in respect and acknowledge sort of just the whole situation and everything.
Nethrali will smile and she'll finish her prayer and then she'll look at Leanna and ask, "Are you okay to finish going to your laboratory this evening?"
She takes a breath and nods. Yes, I believe so. I wish to uncover what has been going on here. I feel there's more than I realized, and I feel almost partly responsible for not realizing sooner. And I don't know. I feel like I know there was nothing I could have done. I couldn't have known, but it doesn't stop me from feeling like I should have.
Zildath will very gently put a hand on her shoulder and tell her, "We'll make it right. We won't stop until we make it right."
Nethrali will nod and in agreement with Zildath. And she'll very in the softest, most calming voice she can manage, say, "We have to stop by the tailor's first for Zildath." Because Well, she's genuinely afraid that they'll forget and someone will come after Zildath again. She doesn't mind killing people, but if she can avoid it, she'd like to.
We'll get a lovely cloak for my bard friend over there as well. I feel like her healing abilities will come in very handy.
Oh, you know how to make a girl flush.
Nethrali is going to giggle a little and say, I think purple is her color.
Tolkien is gonna smirk, but she's not really gonna say anything. She's outside of the circle of the light, just kind of mourning quietly in her own way.
Zildath will crack a smile for a moment and then back to his stoic dragon expression, and away they go.
So, Takia, as you're sort of quietly mourning on your own, away from the rest, you see, you sort of hear the leaves rustle nearby, and you see one of the wolves from earlier kind of poke its head out, and you in particular recognize it as the one that you'd offered the food to, and it doesn't look threatening. It looks almost like it's grateful to you.
I take a deep breath and I sigh, and I just kind of close my eyes for a long second and nod my head in acknowledgement. You are free to come and go as you wish, my friend. They will not harm you.
Nethrali is going to very quietly, so as not to spook the wolf, walk up to Tokra and hand her a white rose and move back to the rest of the group as quietly as possible.
The rose is like slightly confused but grateful, and she smells it, and she lays it at the base of the nearest tree before taking a moment, taking a deep breath to calm herself, and walking into the fire where everybody can see her. Not into the fire as in into the fire light, not the fire, because she's not, Dothraki Queen Khaleesi.
You're not looking to end the session the way it started.
No. I like to actually have a whole session where I'm alive the entire time. I'm just saying.
Talthay looks at Tolkien and says, I'm gonna buy you a scarf any color you want when we get there.
I like things that will hide me in the woods. So green.
Then we will get you green.
Brown.
Something warm.
Well, that's all I have.
No!
That was dope as shit, though.
So good!
Bruh.
My life. I'm so sad.
Yes, my dude.
That's awesome!
That was pretty badass.
I don't want to end!
This is Hesulan. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dia de Muertos. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And click that bell too, so you can get notified. Customer to buy me a drink first.
Tokia raises an eyebrow and is like, says in undercommon, even if you were my type, I don't want fleas.
They're gonna have hate sex.
They totally are.